Oh, the stream is live. Oh, my guest is making stream in the backyard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just the roll to what do I want to adjust the roll to? Change roll to editor. Oh yeah. Stream settings are good. Oh, the stream settings and the health is good. Excellent analysis of the row. And the memory still remains. Have you heard anything about these Metallica shows?
No, I just saw the Metallica was on Kimmel.
Where they play it on the Griffith
Well, I didn't see the play a
Observatory?
song. I just saw them come on and the first initial interview where all four was sitting there and he broke out the box set, the Black Album box set, and how Metallica let whoever record and cover whatever, and so many of
Yeah.
them picked Nothing Else Matters,
Yeah.
and I haven't heard any of them, but
It's pretty decent. I mean, I'll say the covers are, they're worth the listen through.
I did see a little video of Ghost covering Enter Sandman. Was it Enter Sandman?
I think they did.
I think
And Royal Sons did Sabbath True. Or not Royal Sons, they're here. Royal Blood.
Yeah.
That was weird. Yeah, they just got on there. Royal Sons just got on there.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. No, so you can hop on YouTube, and I highly recommend it. Is check out when they played live, because they played
On Kimmel?
On Kimmel, they played it on the Griffin Observatory, up out in front of it on the
Oh,
hill,
they did
looking
mention that.
over. It, they had drones and all sorts of shit flying around. It looks really good.
Huh.
It was at sunset. It looks really cool. But they played "Holier Than Thou"
Really?
and "Wherever I May Roam." And I was like, that's fucking cool. You don't see Holier Than Thou ever.
Unless you went to the Black Album tour in 1991.
Yeah. And then, so what they did was they knew this was going to happen, but they played, or there was rumors of this happening. They did a show in San Francisco at a 350 capacity bar club. Told everybody, hey, we're doing this tonight. If you show up, it's $20 to get in. You get a wristband. It's $19.81, and then they took the change and rounded it up. And they rounded it up to $20. The donation went to whoever the leftover change.
Yeah.
And then they played like the set. They opened with Whiplash, and that was kind of, they played some new stuff, but it was mostly all old stuff. And then so last night they went to Chicago and did it at the Metro
at a club.
Yeah, this one was 1,000-person capacity. They only let 500 in. And same thing. You show up, get in line, give your $20. They'll put a wristband on your wrist, and then you can go do whatever. Come back with the wristband on your wrist, let you in. It's whoever's in line, 1 for 1. You can't get multiples. It's 1 for 1. It's kind of a cool deal, and it's the same thing. They whip
Old
through.
School.
They whip through, a bunch of stuff off Justice and Ride the Lightning and
what's that on YouTube?
Kill 'Em All. I don't know if there's any fan footage of it or not. Of it yet. I think there is of the San Francisco show. It finally started showing up, but I don't know the Chicago show.
That might be worth a check.
Might be worth them coming down to Dallas and do. They love Fort Worth.
They love Fort Worth?
Yeah, they shot Cunning Stunts here.
Oh, that's right.
At Tarrant County Convention Center.
That's right.
And did all those interviews sitting around the Tarrant County Convention Center and sitting around downtown Fort Worth and stuff. That's on the DVD.
I never saw any of that.
Like Jason's sitting in one of those pay parking lots that looks at the train terminal, the bus and train station down there. Like over the shoulder, you see the bus and the train station. You're like, what? And then I think Kirk is walking through the water gardens talking to everybody, doing the interviews and stuff. It's so weird, but that'd be badass. Like, hey, Tulips, show up at Tulips. You get a wristband.
Well, it's just like what was that the show that was Coming to Trees where the headliner was like, "What?" And then I might have even taken a picture of it, where one of the adverts was them and two other bands, and the other advert was just them. Man, who was that?
Coming soon
Yes,
to Trees.
October.
October.
I think it was in October. But yeah, big band. Like, holy shit.
The last big band I know that came through there was like Deftones came through there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what?
Deftones. Yeah, but man, it was like
Local H?
no, it was I want
Butcher
to say it
Babies?
was System of a Down, but I don't know if that's right.
Power Man,
No, bigger than that.
bigger than that. Front 242. Metalachi.
I thought it was in October.
Sunday. Okay, I'm in October now.
It looked
Man, they got a lot of shit coming.
yes.
Cold?
Keep going.
Genitortures. Oh, shit. When is that? Thursday, November 4th? You ever been to a Genitorture show? Yeah. I may have to do that.
Bring my athletic cup and a fucking can of mace.
Yeah, they do some crazy shit on stage. Nitzareb?
No, when you see it, you'll be like, oh, well.
What? DRI's coming.
Really? The actual DRI?
Yeah. Coming all the way from Houston. Stinkbug?
Nope. No, it's
We want to get.
it's on the size of System of a Down. I don't know if it was them, but
I don't see anybody
I
else.
saw
I'm
two
into
back to side to side.
March of next year.
One of them was them with the two other acts, and the other one was just them on the same day. So it was like they canceled and then they
King's X?
was it King's X? No, it wasn't King's X. What's on the bill?
It's just King's X.
I don't think it was.
Oh, Bezel. King's X and Bezel.
No, that wasn't it.
I don't see.
Man.
Unless it's for next year.
What the hell? I thought it was coming up. I was like,
Oh, your favorite band, Mushroom Head.
no.
Paul Voorhees?
No.
Oh. Did you see that Gas Monkey?
What they do?
Gas Monkey Bar and Grill changed their name.
What? Why?
They're now Amplified Dallas.
What?
Because
Somebody bought it, or somebody sold it, or somebody lost it.
the name Gas Monkey Bar and Grill was being rented, was being borrowed. And
From the place in California?
no, from what's his name? Fast and Loud. His place here in Dallas.
Oh.
Gas Monkey, is a garage, hot rod shop.
Yes. Yeah, like Jesse James had his hot rod shop.
Yeah. So basically, he got into business with them to lease the name Gas Monkey Bar and Grill on the bar and grill.
Well,
And it was a kind of a partnership at first, and then the contract ran up. So, what's his name said, you can keep leasing the name, and then that contract ran out, and it turned into all sorts of bullshit going back and forth, a bunch of legal drama, and finally this week they changed their name to Amplified Dallas.
Mm.
It's going to be the same thing,
yes. But now they can't sell that merch.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I think that was part of the deal, was how much of the merch money was going to.
Like, hey, fucker. You're basically making nickels on my name. But I'm sure they had their own little thank you handshake stuff going on.
Yeah, who knows? Last I heard, they were not friends. That
No.
Richard Rollins was not friends with. But they had a bunch of cool upcoming shows. If you go to Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, it still comes up, or it comes up as Amplified. But they have like Waves is coming, and
Where?
there was someone else. Thrice, Sepultura,
Maybe it was.
Cradle of
Oh.
Filth. Cradle of Filth was a big show that was going.
It wasn't Sepultura. Was it Soulfly?
Soulfly just came through
No, it said it wasn't that because it's
Okay.
coming.
because I was pissed.
I would have.
I meant to go to that Soulfly
I
show.
would have totally gone to that.
Seen good old Max.
Yep. Him and his old crusty gray-haired ass.
So they still have Ministry set up for October 23rd.
Man, but I would have that would have stuck out. No, this one was. I don't even know how to find it. But
Atreyu.
You know what they call Atreyu in Australia?
Suck ass.
Atreyu.
Oh, Atreyu. What's the big? We need to start the show. But what's the big? We're just sitting here talking. What's that big Australian band that's badass?
Big Australian band, badass. AC/DC?
No. That was kind of.
That was easy. That was a red carpet.
Mother.
I mean, John Butler is Australian, and he's global.
No, there's a middle. Okay, Parkway Drive is from down there. There's also the other dude.
I don't know.
God damn, they're so cool. Fuck.
You're gonna Google it. Google it.
I'm looking right now and I can't find it.
Awesome Aussie. Was it metal?
Wolf Mother.
No, that's Aussie.
I don't think anybody's going to leave Australia for a long time.
You're probably right.
The place has become a prison colony.
Well,
again.
and the prison colony part, like their neighbors, New Zealand is doing exactly what Australia is trying to do. But there's everybody in New Zealand's like, okay, and then their COVID cases are next to nothing. They haven't been phased by COVID at all. And Australia's like, we want to be everybody else. And then their government's like, yeah, but New Zealand's doing this and everybody's alive. But then,
What the fuck did it? Oh, yeah, okay. They're not from down there, are they?
Who's that?
Periphery. They're not from down there.
Don't know.
No, they're from D.C.
Dun-dun-dun.
All right, let's start the show.
Crank it up.
Some fun here.
Dun-dun-dun.
You'll like this intro.
Did you mix it up again?
Well, we have a special call-in intro, so we'll have that going, and then
well.
you'll like this intro song. It's kind of funny, and I may have to control it a little bit. All right, here we go.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to all.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, here we go.
Something happened.
Something did happen. Oh well, we'll just do it. Here we go.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to all Matt Stubbs fans out there. There will be no announcement. Repeat, there will be no announcement.
Not tonight.
Hey guys, it's Matt. I
Hey,
don't know
how's it
if
going?
you knew that or not. Stubbs. I used to be on the podcast show, the Jerry Jonestown Massacre Show with Dustin Schneider and Matt Stubbs.
2 months ago.
Yeah, I'm the other dude, Matt. I used to be on this show.
We heard you.
Anyway, sorry about I can't make the announcement today, the big announcement. I was looking forward to telling you guys some good news. But I did want to touch base with everyone, let them know that I am alive, I'm kicking. I have a couple of more things I got to wrap up on the COVID front. I am COVID free. So there's just other members of my family that are not, and we might be getting him home from the hospital today, with fingers crossed. So, Dustin, carry on.
Will do.
Have a good show.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to try.
And Jeffrey Lord,
Isn't here.
Jerk one. Yeah, that's not close. Bye. Bye.
This episode
Hey, I
of
like
the
this song.
is brought to you by
It's the last time you heard
note.
it.
and
Victor Wrench.
and Plastic Object.
This
Probably a
program
year or two.
contains graphic material,
Maybe more.
including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I tried to play this the other day. Couldn't remember the keyboard part.
I wonder if my wife is listening yet. No, 8:18. She might be. She's going to ask me, what's that music?
Who's playing those drums?
They sound so big. They weren't even my drums. They were his.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, it's way easier.
There she is. Some punk. That was back when we were sellable.
Look how dated it is.
Well, yeah, it's only a decade ago or whatever.
2001.
2 decades ago.
2 decades. Shit.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Show number 439.
1,000.
2 decades later. It is September 21st, 21. 9/21/21.
Oh my goodness.
And
That's a lot of twos and ones.
it's a beautiful Tuesday out here in the temple.
Yeah, we have the door open.
Got the door open. We still have the Topo Chico available for anyone that wants to swing by and pick up a Topo Chico.
For $10 a piece?
Oh no, these are free. This is part of the deal. If anybody just was
I was trying to pay the bills, but okay.
No. I did find some for sale actually in Dallas by our practice joint. I was shocked.
1 case per person?
Well, they were all big plastic, like 2-liter bottles, so you had to stop it that way. Whiskey. We're drinking lots of whiskey.
It's called a decanter.
A decanter.
Yes.
So, happy Tuesday, Jesse.
Yay!
Filling in
Tuesday.
the mat chair tonight.
Yep, I'm sitting in his bag of farts. You're welcome. Thank you.
As you heard at the beginning of the show, he left a voicemail to all his fans out there.
That he will not be coming out of the closet just yet.
No, the big announcement will have to wait till next week. He hinted to it in there that he had a family member coming home.
Mm-hmm.
If you've watched on social media, you know who it is. And he did come home. He sent me pictures of him sitting in his favorite chair and everything. So everything seems to be back at normal.
Fantastical.
Somehow.
Yes.
So.
The will of the gods.
COVID.
Yeah, we were chit-chatting about COVID before we decided to hit the button.
A hot button topic.
Yes, it's very depressing, but sometimes it just needs to be vocalized to set you, ground you a little.
Well, a lot of weird things happened this week, and I got show notes on them. If you want to just dive right into it.
I got my swim trunks on.
Because I have a question for you then. How do you feel about a big booty stripper from the Bronx now being the face of COVID?
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
I guess. How is Nicki Minaj the person to look at or talk to about COVID?
She's in the public eye.
I mean, she's got a lot of followers.
She has a ton of followers.
I don't think it's fair that she gets to go and have White House conversations now, whether it be by phone or going in person,
that's
whichever
a little
it is.
Excessive, kids.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah, that's a little excessive.
But it's so weird. Like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. Plastic booty herself.
WAP.
Yes. I almost have nothing for that. I can't wrap my head around the unimportant importance of all of that.
I mean, she got flamed for a lot of stuff. The tweet she put out about
the balls,
her cousin's balls getting swollen. I'm like,
oh my god.
I mean, come on.
Can you really blame the COVID? Can you really blame the COVID? No.
I mean, y'all down there where they live, they have mosquitoes that cause that elephantitis. So I mean,
as well as other women with swift feet.
This was a kid.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I guess if a little kid got kicked in the balls.
Well,
so.
Was it a little kid?
I thought they said it was like 10, 12 years old. I don't know.
Huh?
It was like her little nephew or cousin that was 10 or 12 years old.
I thought it was like a grown.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. I got tired head as soon as I started hearing her talk. I can't handle her talk.
Yeah, she's got the self-important voice. I don't seek out her voice at all.
She's got
my car sparkles voice.
She's got, since she grew up in the Bronx, but she's from Trinidad, she has the mix of both those voices, but the Bronx takes over, and I can't stand that accent. Can't stand it. That's like one of those ones that is just anthrax to my ears.
Is that one of the repellents for people who have never been to New York? If you go, you're going to run into somebody who has that voice.
If I get too high in the streets, if I get like past the 70s or 80s, you start hearing that voice. And you're like, oh God damn!
I've got beats.
Where am I at?
Where are my beats?
I'm at 71st Street. I got to get back down south, quick.
I got to find myself a flooded subway.
Which is kind of funny. Kind of funny.
Hmm.
Wonder if they've dried out any of those subways yet.
I wonder where that water goes, sir. How does it get any lower than a subway?
Well, you got
They gotta
well, you
pump
know,
it out,
you've
right?
got subway tunnels that go underneath the channels that go underneath the Hudson and the East River.
Do they
They
flood?
well, they got pumps in them in case they do.
Okay.
But they always have problems like when Sandy came through. Like one of the main reasons my sister decided to move home was they were about to close her line that comes from
It's a subway line.
that comes from Midtown over into Williamsburg. They were going to close it down for a year because they had to go in and replace a bunch of the electronics because of the rust
Huh.
from the seawater and a lot of the rails and stuff. They had to go through there, and so it was going to be closed for a year. And the only way to get to Manhattan was going to be by
Taxi.
or bus or
Do they have
Uber
Do they
or
have
whatever.
the high rail running through enough of it?
Now, like if you're on the south end of Brooklyn, you've got the rail that goes over the Manhattan Bridge. And is it the Manhattan Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there is one that crosses, but you got to make your way down there to get to it to go over. And it's not as easy as you think it is.
That sounds like a giant baby.
Once you get to the Brooklyn side, it's not easy to get around. When you're in Manhattan, it's easy to get around because you got stations everywhere, and it pretty much runs north, south, east, west.
My only subway experience was DC. I got on the metro a couple of times, so I don't know. Would New York be times 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably New York's the mecca. I'd say of
Subway
all
mecca?
subway
Although, do you know where the
Mass
first
transit.
subway was built?
in Chicago, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it was Paris.
Oh, I thought you meant in the U.S.
Well, U.S. maybe, but yeah, I want to say I was somewhere in history class. You know, this is me going through the Rolodex, and yeah, the very first subway I think was in Paris. I know Laura's probably googling it right now to tell me I'm an
I don't
idiot.
remember. Have you not been to London?
Okay.
And there's nothing over in Australia.
No,
They
no
don't have
subway.
any. subway systems,
No.
do they?
Well, they have trains, but they're all above ground. The ones that I remember.
There's nothing in
Melbourne.
Melbourne
I
underground.
don't think so. No, because yeah, it's. I mean, it's right on the coast. That'd be really.
New York's right on the coast.
Yeah.
New York is the coast.
But yeah, like Melbourne is a bay, so like
Yeah.
the city. Yeah, I don't see a subway there. They do have a train, and it's very well used.
I didn't see
they
a-
use that a lot.
I didn't see a subway in L.A. till my first trip there. I was like, who the fuck decided this was a good idea
Somebody with lots of money.
and didn't care about earthquakes?
And what is Elon Musk's idea about building those tunnels between certain businesses?
Oh, they're already running them.
Yeah.
That tube.
So yeah, but how much did that cost, and what how does that? When I heard about that, I was like, how is that? You know, from a businessman's point of view, how is that cost effective?
How's that cost effective? And in California, he wants to run stuff from San Francisco to L.A. and out and about, and then down to San Diego and stuff. He had a big map you can go look up for a while.
But
Yeah, the
it's-
hypertube,
Yeah.
and it's pretty wild.
Yes. But I would assume Mr. Futuristic would have come up with some way to just create, personal drone shuttles and just shuttle
Like the
people.
Jetsons.
Yes.
Like
Jetsons.
he would
okay,
be the
sure.
guy to bring the Jetsons around.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah.
Him and Richard.
Yeah. Well, now that we're on talking to him, we're gonna have to come back to COVID. But what do you think of Inspiration 4?
Inspiration 4.
Did you not watch any of this?
I guess not.
The all civilian space flight on
Oh no, I do remember.
SpaceX.
Man.
Happened last week.
So yeah, this is my question. They're not up there for very long.
4 days
4 days?
or
Well,
3
that's-
days. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. This was the longest all civilian space flight, and
So
they actually
they're
had a
just-
capsule they could move around. They had a restroom. They had issues with. They didn't really understand how to use or
How
how
do
to
I
use
pee
it
in this tube?
correctly. Or yeah.
Huh? I don't know. I guess
And that was one of the things in the press
It
conference.
would
Elon
depend
Musk
on how much
said.
it costs. Is there a cost number that's attached to that?
I don't know if there was for this. This was the one that there's a whole Netflix series about it that they were releasing weekly of them going through their training and getting ready, and so you get to know these guys. And it's I've watched the first episode. It's pretty cool.
Did they choose
the
these people,
commander of
or
it?
how did these people wind up going?
They did choose them. So the commander of it is an actual
Astronaut.
pilot. He's never been to space, but he's an actual military. He's a military pilot that has flown with aerial acrobatic teams. I think it was the Italian team, air team, or maybe it was the French air team. And he's trained with the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels, and he's he's also rich. He made a whole lot of money in investments and stuff. But
he's in the right company.
Yeah. So he's kind of like I don't know, a pretty boy that they got on there. Then two of the seats were kind of auctioned off. In a way, you had to submit your application and a story behind it. They wanted someone that would inspire hope, and someone that would inspire generosity. So the one that would hope is a female cancer survivor. Hope, or that was hope. Generosity was someone that was good for, has spent their time being like what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a
they've just spent all their time donating it to different charities.
What's his name?
Taking care of stuff.
Ex-wife that's given away half of her fortune.
There you go. Yeah, and I forgot what the last guy was. What his was, but they all had they all had a purpose. That's why it was called the Inspiration 4. They all had different seats and purposes.
I mean, it's we will probably live to see a hotel on Mars. Like, I bet in the next 20 years, I bet they have that.
Or at least the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, need to take advantage of the moon being here as being that needs to be a
testing
launch
ground.
Off point. Not here.
A testing ground.
You waste too much energy and fuel leaving from here.
One way or another, energy and fuel to get a weight off of here to something else. You get to the moon, and that could be a easier springboard. You don't have to fight so much gravity, I guess. But yeah, leaving from here to get to the moon, to take all the stuff you would need to leave from the moon, they got to come up with another way.
So I was this week. I got to find it here, since we're going way down paths I don't even have really figured out yet. I got to find this
Milestone. All the sci-fi books are getting closer. Milestone. Is that a book?
It would be awesome if things got like Firefly, or what's the other one? The Mars. They have the labor union. That's the miners, and it's on Amazon. I forgot the name of that show already.
Oh, Laura might know that one.
Where is these guys?
Show on Amazon about Mars.
Yeah, I can go look on Amazon and come right up. So Project Pluto, since we're talking about this energy, Project Pluto was something that was conducted back in the late 40s, early 50s, and went all the way up into the Cold War with Russia. The U.S. had developed a nuclear ramjet missile.
I vaguely remember this.
This is the most terrifying thing I've ever read in my life. I was like, whatever sick fuck came up with this idea, yeah, he's
bored college kids.
So basically, it's a nuclear ramjet. It's a SLAM missile. It was designed to drop hydrogen bombs as it flew over the target, but since it was a nuclear ramjet,
it had to go somewhere.
The areas it was flying over was just radiating the skies. So raining down radiation while dropping hydrogen bombs, while it was also a missile. The problem was it would fly so fast that it would probably evaporate everything right underneath its flight path.
And that's probably where Putin has his super cool secret weapon now that's not so secret.
The Satans and the Satan 2s?
Is that what they're called?
Those are those scary ass missiles.
The hypersonic ICBMs?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But I was reading this. I was like, what the heck? You make a missile that just dumps radiation all over everything.
Just pisses and shits on everything.
Whatever's directly below it is going to be evaporated because of the speed and sound the thing makes.
And it's dropping dirty bombs.
And it's dropping hydrogen bombs, and it has a nuclear warhead on the end of it. And it says that the nuclear warhead didn't even matter because whatever it hit at the mass of it and the velocity it hit something would annihilate it anyway. It would be like a nuclear bomb going off.
It's a city eraser.
Yeah. It's like, good God. Luckily.
Yeah. No, that was a poker table with a bunch of scientists going, man, how much can we fuck shit up?
Yeah. If we can make the ultimate thing,
we can put this on it,
be?
And then it would be this, but then it'll do this on the same time. Yeah.
Settle down, guys. Settle down.
Yeah.
But they did get to the engine testing part, and they tested on a train car, and it was a short test, and it pretty much all their theories were going to be correct about it.
So they
and
literally
that's as far
had
as they got.
Working thing of that. They had a working
nuclear ramjet.
Huh. I saw a little snippet video. I think it was yesterday, and it was the Navy was sinking, or they were doing military drills, but sinking obsolete ships that they had decommissioned. And they have a torpedo. If you Google it, just the last visual of the thing was amazing. So it's a cruiser, the ship that's decommissioned and they're just shooting at. But this torpedo hit it right in the middle. It's a big boat, and it literally blew up and split the thing in two. The ship.
And those ships are gigantic.
Yeah, it's not a bass boat, dude. It's
yeah.
You know, but yeah, like it was a cartoon, but that literally happened. They have one torpedo that blew up and split the ship in two.
It's freaking crazy,
man. I would hate to live on a submarine. Forget it.
Yeah, submarines are weird.
Yeah, that would be something. You'd have a special breed of weirdo has to do that.
Yeah, being in the water for 6 months at a time.
Yeah, or underwater even for like weeks at a time. They don't have to come up for weeks anymore.
6 months. Nuclear power doesn't have to go to. If you've got enough food and rations, that's what they say.
Man, yeah, no thanks.
That's weird.
Yes, like you would. I just envision. I can see the shakes. It's like okay. You know, no, I don't see that.
I mean, you become like one of those moths or those worms that are in the cave when you finally come to see sunlight.
I wonder what kind of testing the Navy puts people through to see if they're up to that, because not everybody can do that.
No, you're hunched over all the time. You're crawling through little.
Yeah, one of the guys I hired on with, Mike Davis. He was a submariner. He was on a submarine. He was out at sea for like 9 or 10 months or something. But yeah, he says it's not for big people.
I do know that's where the saltpeter comes into play, is on submarines. They put it in all the food.
Huh.
But I always wondered what the long-term effects of that were. You're stumping an erection for like 6 months. Does it cause problems later on down the road?
Is that where Nicki Minaj gets the big balls?
The big balls. You're not going to get an erection, but your balls are going to get big.
It just happened. They woke back up.
You got to have big balls to be in a submarine for that long, right?
You got to have balls that clank to sit on a submarine for a year or two at a time. No thanks. I'll pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right. So if we trickle back towards the COVID thing.
COVIDs.
Did you hear what happened in Idaho?
Idaho.
Have you seen this?
I guess not. Well,
some stuff was reported it wrong that Idaho went to the entire state went to DNR. The entire hospital system went to DNR. And that's not what they did.
Do not resuscitate?
Yeah. They went to crisis standards of care, which is basically like a triage. They make decisions designed to achieve the best outcome for a group of patients rather than for individuals. So depending on what you come in with, you know.
I did not hear that, but I did read an article literally today that COVID has now surpassed the Spanish flu of 1918 for most deaths.
Ah, so we're at that level now.
Yeah, it's literally the worst death-related devastation the country's ever seen.
What's next?
After the Spanish flu?
Yeah, what do we
COVID,
have
Spanish
next?
flu? Shit, fuck, I don't know.
Worldwide. Black Plague, are we going for that? We
Oh.
got to be number one, right?
I think
We're
so.
number one.
I think so.
We're number one. We just keep
Or I don't know.
trying to get up there.
Check India.
What's India got? The count.
Yeah.
I was just talking about we get in our lifetime we got to have the number one plague, right?
Yes.
Because this is now turning into a plague. It's
Yes.
not a
Yeah.
just
Yeah, and there's no
infection anymore.
there's no bullet point checklist to say yes or no or guarantee any outcome. It's when you get it, you're rolling dice, and that's the part that's terrifying.
Especially with Delta.
Yeah,
It
or
really is
Delta
rolling dice.
or freaking
The first round was
Lambda or whatever they're on now. Yeah, but yeah, like we were talking about before we hit record. A buddy of mine at work, he's got it, and his son's got it. But then, and he's already gone through his fever. So he says his fever's broke, but he's got no taste, he can't smell, and he feels like somebody ran him over.
My partner at work still can't taste or smell.
How long has that been?
When did I go out? January?
Still can't taste or smell since January.
Well, he said everything, it's not, he can smell, it's not correct. Let me rephrase that. The taste and smells aren't correct. Toothpaste, when he brushes his teeth in the morning, the taste is the same as a fart or a shit. He's like, it tastes like a fart smells.
Great, man, and that's one of the little the nuances I'm not looking forward to, because eventually everyone's going to get it.
I didn't get a loss of taste or smell.
Yeah, and well, yeah, I mean everybody's different,
Yeah.
but like my sense of smell is outstanding. Like I have a crazy good, and Laura will tell you. She'll say,
I do too.
I that's one of my weird bragging montage, little get out of jail free cards. Is I have this weird, I can smell, my nose palate is otherworldly.
You can tell who's on their period.
Something. Yeah. Usually it's my wife.
Yeah.
But
whoa, she's in the chat room. Cool. God.
What? It's not me. So yeah, I'm assuming that when I get it, that's going to be one of the things, if it doesn't kill me, that is going to be greatly affected. Is my Superman sense of smell is going to go away.
Yeah, I didn't lose my smell or taste, but man, exhaustion, that took me. I wasn't ready for that.
Well, like you were saying before we hit record, the guy, the nurse at the medical town center or whatever, and you were saying the blood clots, how they were pulling
trees out
tree
of people's
stems
lungs,
of blood clots out of people's lungs.
Yeah,
there's a guy.
And that's with Delta.
I know at work, and he was put on some medication. It's not COVID related, but yeah, his blood clots somehow from some medication. I don't think he's back to work. That's been like 2-3 years.
He's been out for that long?
Yeah, he's been out for a long time. Well, no, whenever I was on the MDU crew, he was on the MDU crew with me, but he got some sort of sickness after that. It was before COVID. And yeah, they put him on medication, and the medication caused the blood clots, and they didn't catch it in time. So now he's got it's an ongoing thing, and he hasn't been back to work since. I need to try and call him again. But yeah, I haven't heard or seen anything from him. But yeah, blood clots, that's no joke. That'll kill you quicker than shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And the thing I thought was really odd, and this has been playing with me, and maybe you can give me the answer on this, because no one can give me an answer on this.
I got the whiskey. Go ahead.
So Idaho put this crisis standards of care into play, right? And this was Sunday, I guess. They knew they were going to go down this path, but Boise State decided to play Oklahoma State in Boise in a stadium with 36,000 people.
No restrictions.
No restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings up, if I've asked this, I've said this for quite a while, I've asked a lot of people this. If we're in the middle of the worst crisis ever, and people are now saying it's worse than it was 2 years ago, numbers wise, and the way people are being affected, and the way the hospitals are full and everything, why do we still have sporting events?
Money.
That's all it can be, right?
That's it.
Like the NFL board had to walk into Washington and go, "Look, you're not shutting us down for another season."
we're a like $3.5 trillion a year
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
It's money.
It has to be, right?
That's the only that's what
Because you have
makes the world
packed
round.
stadiums, college and pro. College, let's say you have up to 50, 60,000 people at all these different stadiums, and then pro up to 100,000. And nut to butt, packed. Everybody's on top of each other, screaming and yelling, no masks. I only know of one team that's being hardcore about the
Precautions.
Vaccination proof, and that's the
Oh.
Raiders.
Well, there's some teams that some of their players are getting suspended because they're not.
No, I'm talking about the fans.
Oh, the fans.
The fans, yeah.
Oh,
The Raiders, you have to prove
vaccination.
vaccine status before you go in the stadium.
Wow. Huh.
And they were game one. They were giving people shots right there on the spot. Which
Really?
what the fuck does that do?
I don't know
It
if
takes
that-
a little while
yeah.
to kick in. So if someone walks in there sick,
I mean, but that's I guess that's one way to spread a good thing is if they'll take that shot, shit, give it to them. Yeah, I could see that. I think that's better than offering people $50 to do it. Yeah,
or
'cause some
a
people
scratch card,
or
Like
a lottery.
Arkansas
Yes.
was doing.
Yeah.
You can get a $2 scratch card if you go and you get vaccinated. What? What is
Wow.
that going to do?
Well, it'll get all the truck stop gas station people in.
Well, they Vice did a whole series about Arkansas because the numbers were ridiculous in Arkansas, and
Inundated.
they're picking on them because it's Arkansas, and of course, like most media does, they pick on the people that seem the dumbest or illiterate, and they're just talking to this guy, and this guy is like, it's an old black guy, and he's just sitting there, and he's kind of unsure about getting the vaccine and talking about stuff, but he finally gets talked into it and goes and takes it, and they're like, "How you feel today?" He's like, I feel all right. They're like, "Well, do you feel like this may be the best day of your life?" And he goes, "I don't know. We'll have to wait till they give me my scratch card, and we'll go from there." And it's like, what? He went and did that for a scratch card?
For a $2 win.
$2 win. You can turn that $2 into $4, and that
Yeah.
$4 into $100, and so on and so on.
I've got a couple of stories about that.
Yeah,
It's happened.
it does happen, but it's just stupid. That's the dumbest thing.
That's kind of that's a far stretch.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the state was, but there was a state that literally said, if you will go get these shots, we will give you whatever it was, $50, $100,
Yeah.
just to, man.
Well, at first, a lot of companies were saying, we'll give you
Well-
$1,000. We'll give you a day off. We'll give you. I mean,
$1,000, I would have to take that. That would be okay.
Technically, our company gives us a day off
Yes, you get a half day
for the first shot
for the first shot. Yes,
and a half day for the second
I
shot.
wish I would have known that when I got mine. I did get nothing off. I was there the next day.
No, it's the day you get it done.
Oh, yeah, and we might have got ours before they implemented that idea, but
And if it's supposed to, no one's really tested this yet, but if you get sick on the second one, however much time you're off after that is just taken care of.
Huh.
So if you go get the second one and you end up getting sick, you're off.
It knocks you off your ass.
yeah, you're off, and that doesn't go against you. Your vacation or your sick time.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
We didn't have to worry about that. Neither one of those shots affected us in any way.
So let me ask you this. Are people on your side of the house freaking out about the company mandating?
I mean, there's a couple of old timers that have choice words for that, but for the most part, there's only 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 or 4 guys in my shop that haven't had it. One of them.
Let me take you over to construction where we're men.
One of them is like it's his religious choice. One of them is he's had some severe. He's had triple bypass surgery. He's had severe medical situations. And the other ones are like, I'll be out of here in no time, and I don't need it. But the rest of us, we've all got them. Yeah, I guess it's probably just a different world.
There's a few in my garage that have had it, and they there's on our side there's a lot of people that are pissed that the company's trying to mandate this. You know that
You're
they don't.
going to get that with every company. There's no. It's not.
Well,
And this is the thing that makes me silly in the head. If you understand that getting it's and you know what this is another something I don't know why. Well, I don't know why they call it a vaccine. So vaccines are typically implemented for diseases.
Yep.
This is not a disease. It's
No.
a virus.
It's a virus.
So the vaccine, for lack of a better word, basically just gives your body a little map of this is what might hit you. So be prepared.
You're gonna get sick.
Yeah, but it's not gonna. The likelihood that it will kill you is greatly reduced.
Yeah.
So I think they need to come up with another name. It's not
Well,
a
and
vaccine.
That's the bill of goods that was sold months ago, maybe even this time last year. They said when the vaccine's here, you're not going to have to worry about anything else. And you can go out and you can continue your life and you can move on.
That will spin. I don't even know how to describe it. A person without that mindset, it'll spin them into a little cocoon. Because when they hear vaccine and it's not really a vaccine, you literally cut them off. They can't see past that word. It's not a vaccine. It's help. It's an aid. So yeah, I think that's hindering so many people from getting the shot.
Well, okay, so going back to the company thing, I mean, there's a lot of people that'll stand up and say,
"Got my rights." Blah blah blah.
Yeah. The company doesn't have control of what I put in my body. Name another vaccine that our company has said you have to work here.
Well, yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
Nothing. This pops up, they start, saying whatever, but that you have to have it. And I guess the union's trying to fight it, whatever. But
I'm sure there's discussions.
There's discussions, and it came to a head. And the company said they're going to, since we can't meet, they're going to side with whatever the government says. Which, once again, why does the government have control over your body? What goes in and out of your body? Why should the government have any control over what you put inside yourself?
You want me to boil it down to the simplest possible? Money.
Yeah.
It's about money.
This whole thing's been about money.
So
I've said that from the get-go.
And I think it's on more fronts than that. So just picture this. What's the total death count now? Is it 680,000 people or something?
Yeah, it's over 600,000 worldwide, not in the U.S.
No, that's U.S.
No.
Worldwide, it's millions.
I thought that was
U.S. is like 680,000. I think that's just U.S.
Let me see here. Oh, okay, yeah, 4.5 million. Then they had the graphic wrong earlier.
So, and imagine this:
4.5 million worldwide.
You're a massive country with a massive economy, and you lose 680,000 taxpayers.
That's a good point.
That's what they're scared of the most. Saving face, all that.
Yeah, we're at 696 now.
Yeah, so we're creeping up on 700,000 people dead. All those taxpayers gone. That really hinders your economic bubble, and I think that's probably scaring most of the higher ups more than anything. And that's a justifiable, reason to be fearful, really. And I
don't think that gives.
But that's where they come from.
That doesn't give permission for a company that you work for to put something in your body to biologically change it. The same thing with the government.
So on the forefront of the medical world, are all hospitals and doctors' offices and all that, are they all mandated to get that vaccine?
No. No, and that's another thing I read this week was that,
Oh yeah, I did see the thing about some nurses walking out because they were expected to get it.
nurses were walked out. There are some places that are required. Now, if you work in the field, it's kind of a no-brainer.
You would
If you're
think
going
that
to
would
be
be
around it the
yeah.
whole time, or you're in a situation in a hospital where
That's coming. Yeah.
it's going to be around, you should probably get it. I mean, let's play things smart. But yeah, a bunch of nurses have walked away, and there was a big article about the shortage of nurses
Yes.
and doctors and stuff.
And
And
many that have
now
died.
there's 96,000 job openings across the country for nurses.
I believe it.
And
Honey, get going on that medical degree, please. Thank you.
and they are wanting them. I've seen some of the pay if you go out of town, if you're at a certain level
For nurses?
for nurses, like you could go out and work a 12 weeks at a remote hospital somewhere else that needs nurses and get about 100K
Yeah,
for 12 weeks of
I
work.
believe it.
But it, and a lot of those, they are like, you come however you are, vaccinated, unvaccinated. But if you're working in the world, it's like,
If
you
you get
and
it,
I- here's the deal.
If you get it, you're not working. You're not.
no, here's the equivalent. You and I work in a world with a lot of metal, a lot of rust. We should have a tetanus shot.
Yeah, every
We're
10
not
years.
required to have a tetanus shot, but it's pretty smart for us to have a tetanus shot. Well, we have a pretty close friend that's got a fucked up knuckle because of it.
Yeah.
So that can't really work and do weird things.
Yeah, the days of him typing are over.
Yeah. He can masturbate weird though. But anyway, we don't have to have it. But it's smart of us to
No,
have it because of what we're around and what we work with and how often we cut our hands up and
that reminds me.
how easy it is to get
I'm
shit in our bloodstream.
I'm overdue for it.
I'm going to make you step on a nail when you leave here.
Stop it.
You're getting lockjaw. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. But I don't think, I mean, like I said, the government doesn't, or the company doesn't require us to get it. And the government, there's no mandate from the government for you to have a tetanus shot. It's just wise.
Yes.
It's just wise.
Yes.
I
have no doubts, honey.
So, yeah, that's one of the things. The sporting event thing is really fucking throwing me off because all we hear is how bad this is and how the numbers are going back up and how bad Delta is and now Lambda and whatever the other one is, it's coming in and.
But man, if you get enough,
it's spreading, but we can have 90,000 people at a stadium.
Spreading that shit like butter.
And then first Cowboy home opener is this Monday night against Philly.
It'll be packed.
It will be nut to butt packed. People drunk off their ass in each other's faces, yelling and screaming and fighting and all sorts of stuff.
And you'll see the numbers in the hospitals spike.
Around here. Yeah. Get ready, Arlington Memorial. They're coming.
Yes.
It's just kind of crazy.
Unprecedented, if you will.
So one of the things I was looking into or came across, and it cracks me up. Are you on Reddit?
No.
Or do you ever use it?
No, I think Laura does.
Okay, what about, this has popped up on Facebook too. Have you seen the IBM ads for a global health passport on your phone?
No.
Yeah, they're putting together some, health passport thing that they promote that'll be in the blockchain. It'll be protected, but it'll have all your health stats and everything on your phone. It'll be an app. And it will be safe to use, and this is what we should be using.
So explain the parameters of this little idea.
It's so you can show that you're vaccinated,
just
vaccinated,
okay.
or
the way you began to describe it.
No, they wanted to show more.
Okay, I was going to say it sounded like all-encompassing,
like all your stats from your watch or whatever going over to it or whatever. But no, they want it to be your little global passport you can show to everybody. But it'll be in the blockchain. It'll be secure and everything. And I laugh at this every time I see it I laugh at this because you know IBM's history, right?
They're a computer company?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good place to start.
So they started in 1911.
They weren't computers back then.
No, they weren't computers back then. They started making like different types of machinery, but punch cards for businesses at work.
Oh, okay.
You know, the old punch card machines. And they did scales and different types of time recorders, like the punch card and everything. But I want to read this. This is straight from Wikipedia. And this is something people either don't know or they completely forget about.
From IBM.
From IBM. In 1937, IBM's tabulating equipment enabled organizations to process huge amounts of data. Its clients included the U.S. government during its first effort to maintain the employment records for 26 million people pursuant to the Social Security Act, and Hitler's Third Reich for tracking the Jews and other persecuted groups largely through the German subsidiary DHOGMAG. Or DHOMAG.
So IBM sold their technology to Germany?
IBM aided Germany. Built equipment for them, built machines for them in order that the Third Reich could track the Jews and keep tabs on.
You hear that, America?
Everyone in Europe. And if you go in here, it says here, now it was their subsidiary, but it was still IBM equipment.
So was it IBM
there's IBM
umbrella company to a smaller German company? Is that what it sounds like?
It's IBM umbrella to a German company.
Yes.
But the machines they've recovered have IBM stamps all over them.
Sons of bitches.
But it says here, IBM became the main provider of computing expertise and equipment in Nazi Germany. They gave the German government the means for two official censuses of the population after 1933 and for searching its data. It gave the Nazis a way of tracing Jews and dissidents using the powerful automated search tools using the IBM machines. It enabled them to search databases rapidly and efficiently, and the methods were used throughout occupied Europe by the Gestapo and others to locate and arrest its victims, contributing to the Holocaust.
Databases. So hold on. Them using that word for the 1930s seems weird.
The databases back then were on those big...
they're paper.
Paper punch cards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So just remember, when IBM wants to give you this little tool to put on your phone, who it may be sold to, where it may go. That's my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
It's not really a conspiracy theory, but I mean IBM's history.
It's history.
It's just anything. IBM like disappears for a while and then they pop back up. And then they go and they build Watson and whatever and try to play on Jeopardy and then they pop back up. You know, they disappear for a few years and they pop back up. And now they're popping up with this.
I don't know why I'm reminiscing and going back to a TV show that Laura and I watched, The Boys. Have you watched The Boys?
The Boys is great.
Fucking awesome.
The Boys is awesome.
But the whole Nazi Germany tale that's all through it that you didn't. Whoa, how you doing?
Huh?
Get you some of that.
Yeah, the whole Nazi Germany tale, and her name is what is her name? White. It's white. It's not White Power. It's
no. It's
something Nazi-esque.
Laura, what was Stormfront's name?
That's it.
Stormfront.
Yeah.
Oh no, what's her name?
Oh, her name.
Yeah, like she was married to the guy that came up with Compound V, which was, Dr. Von whatever. Schluenbruen.
That show is so goddamn violent.
And they've finished
great.
Finished filming season 3. It's coming. They've already filmed it. Finished.
Aya Cash. Oh, that's the
actress's name.
The actress's name.
No, her actual name in the thing is very German.
Yeah, it's super hardcore German.
Yeah.
Looking it up here, I can't find it. Yeah, that show's awesome. I love that show.
Yeah.
I hate that they did it weekly. Like the first season, they dumped it all at once, didn't they?
And
then this season they went weekly?
No, we had to wait. I remember we had to wait.
It?
Yep.
Did you watch Man in a High Castle?
No.
That was great.
No, but I did
Speaking of
have
Nazis.
inclinings to watch it, but I did not get to watch Man in High Castle.
Well, now that it's all out, you can watch it all at once, and it's great.
Whoa.
You don't have to wait seasons and forget what the hell happened because it is confusing and complicated.
Oh,
But it's great. Oh my god, because it's dealing with different timelines.
honey, we have something that we can watch now on my 3 days off coming.
It's very weird seeing the Japanese and Nazis take over America. It's strange. Oh, this is what it'd be like, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Japanese get the Pacific all the way up to the neutral territories, which is basically Colorado, New Mexico, Texas,
Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho up that way, and then the Germans had the rest
Huh.
on the East Coast.
Now I'm gonna, if I watch this show, and you know, like, the reason countries don't invade us is because everyone has guns, and they still invade us and win. That's gonna be a hard sell.
Well, this was back in like the 40s.
So-
And they show you, like, I think, if I remember at the first episode, shows you where all the major battles where the Allies won, it shows you how they lost, if I remember correctly.
Huh.
But the whole premise of the show, it's not giving anything away. You know, it was a book. But the whole premise of the show is that there's a reality where the Nazis in Japan didn't take over America, which is like the realm we live in now. And that there's these films out there that show this realm, and they're like, what the hell is this? How did this happen? What's going on? Are we being lied to? It's a bunch of confusion. Then you find out that there's timelines.
Oh, yeah. No, that's one of my favorite sci-fi topics ever, is the infinite timelines and how to jump between them.
It's weird.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah, superpower of all superpowers.
Is that the one you'd ask for?
Oh, to jump between timelines? Dude.
I'd like to control time.
I mean, no, because then the responsibility of all of it falls on you. Did you watch
But like Small Wonder? Wasn't that one? No,
did-
not Small Wonder.
Did you watch Loki?
Yeah, all of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, no, the end of it's here
It's
we
like,
go.
Oh yeah,
Here we go.
That was the can of worms at the end. It's
Yep.
like, oh dang,
That
that was my idea when I was like 22.
the last 20 minutes of that final episode, you're just like, oh shit, here we go. And then you know the next stage of Marvel, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, it's infinite.
this is gonna hurt my head.
Yeah, they
this
got
is so gonna hurt my head.
that can of worms isn't a can; it's a 55-gallon drum.
Well, now you don't, and it erased 10 years of watching Marvel movies.
Well, yeah, because they don't have to exist anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No. So everything you've spent your life watching Marvel, from Iron Man to Infinity War, is now just
Because all you got to
Just
do is
crap.
step into another variant realm, and none of that happened.
yeah, that was just a little pinprick on everything else that's going on.
Mm.
It's like, oh shit.
See, that was genius thinking and genius writing.
Well, that's how they were going to bring Black Widow back, right?
I could see that.
Until she fucked up her life in real life
Damn it!
and decided to go.
Get mad, go rogue on everybody.
She was pregnant, right? You can blame it on pregnancy brain. She's like, I'm about to have a baby and I'm gonna fight Disney.
Bring it, you.
Do
infinite
it.
victory. But
I
she
didn't want to have this thing.
she had support, and this is the thing I don't understand.
what? Her dumb husband that's
no,
stupid.
all of the other famous rich people. So,
Oh.
what was her complaint?
That
That they released the movie at the wrong time, and how does that affect her at all?
COVID, that she didn't get the residuals like she was because she was getting paid on the back
Oh,
end.
it was monetary.
Yeah, it was on the back
It
end.
comes back to money, kids.
Yeah, and so since they didn't release it theatrically, in her contract, supposedly it said that she wouldn't get anything
Right.
because it
Okay.
didn't come out.
No, now it
Or
all,
I guess it came out in small.
it all makes sense now. It's always about money.
It didn't go out wide release, right? It was in the theaters, but real
No,
small
they released it theaters and streaming at the same time.
at the same time. Yeah,
So that's what made me confused, spinning my head around. I don't understand where she comes off.
she's a greedy bitch.
Well, what's her complaint? They did what they were supposed to do. It's not like Disney's not trying to make money.
It made a fuck ton more money though through streaming.
You would think so.
The viewership was through the roof.
Was she thinking they were
versus the
going to
theaters.
save it for like, James Bond release after everything cools down?
Well, they already had saved it, right? They pushed it out a year.
They pushed it, yes. But that, that's what. And I haven't read anything about her lawsuit. I don't know squat about it. But that's the thing that spins me into a dark corner. Is I don't know what you're complaining about.
They brought you back for one more movie.
It has to be money. It has to be. Yeah. It's not like they were sliding her,
Oh, she's not going to live off Colin Joyce money.
He is a funny fucker, though.
Not really.
He's kind of fucking funny. I saw this little interview.
I mean, he's all right.
With what's his cohort on the
Michael Che?
Yeah, Michael Che. I saw an interview with Michael Che, and those guys. Have you seen that interview where he was asked about when they write bits for each other?
That's the funniest damn thing.
And Michael Che hammers him, and he won't hammer him back.
No,
he won't.
Michael Che goes straight race card.
Yes,
and makes him look like
total. And
Colin won't.
And it was Colin's idea.
Yeah,
it was Colin's idea to do that, and Michael took it to the nth degree, dude.
Yeah, he's like, "You sure you want to do this?
You sure?
Yeah, we're gonna do this
because I'm gonna punch in the nuts."
Yeah,
and you're gonna
love
do
it when they
camera.
do that. It's great.
So I get it, and I think Colin's a pretty funny cat. I mean, he's not Michael Che funny, but he's pretty funny. He still has his job.
He does. He doesn't do anything else on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
both of them don't.
No, Michael Che doesn't do. I guess not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Huh.
Clara Reisinger. Is that her name in the show?
Claire Reisinger.
Are you sure?
Stormfront's name?
That's not very German. I thought it was.
That isn't third.
She was the wife of Dr. Von what the fuck and
Von Schneider.
Yeah.
There are some Von Schneiders in my bloodline. Came to America and dropped the Von. What did I want to talk about? We got things out of order.
Oh no!
I wanted to talk about Friday night. Went to Mass, Maine at Southside, to see a band. Driving slow motion. Place was packed.
Yes.
I was
shit-faced.
No.
Okay.
I was very nervous because I'm to the point now where I don't like going to
giant public
indoor venues.
Yeah.
I need to have. That's why I like going to Lola's. Everything's out in the trailer park and it's all open air, and you got space. But now you're in Mass that is,
walls
with a door. And I mean, you can go out on the porch and stuff, which ended up happening. And I left for a little bit and came back. But went saw Driving Slow Motion. It was their record release. They released an album called Adrift Abyss. And I'm a sucker for post-rock bands. I said that on my Instagram. I love post-rock bands. We had This Will Destroy You for a while, living here in Dallas.
But they're from Austin, right?
They were from San Marcos.
Okay.
Claimed Austin, and then they moved up here to Dallas, and now I think they moved out to L.A.
Oh.
But that song, The Banks of the Rio Grande, has been like in every movie and TV ad all over the place. One of their songs has gone crazy. And so they moved out to L.A., I believe. And then, of course, Russian Circles rolls through here. You got Coliseum, Maserati, all those badass bands. But it's nice having one right here in Fort Worth, and they're badass.
I like badass.
A lot of fun to watch.
I like badass.
It's always fun when you go and you watch a band, there's not a mic stand on stage.
There's not a mic stand. So they all have supporting mic stands on their equipment?
No.
There's no vocals?
No vocals.
Really?
It's post-rock.
Okay.
It's instrumental.
Okay.
And
I'm down.
It's freaking great. I'm going to try to get them in here in a few weeks.
Did you talk
about this record? Yeah. They're good guys, but it was a great show. It was freaking fantastic. If you had a chance to see them, like I said in my Instagram post, There's a handful of local bands that are doing some badass shit. They're one of them. Really, really good, and I think they fly under the radar, and they don't need to be under the radar. More people need to know about them. Well, the room was packed, so those that know.
If you don't know,
It was a
now
good
you
show.
know.
And then they went down to Austin the next night and played a packed show down there with some of the Austin post-rock bands.
You know, being a good band right now is probably a really, really, really good timing. It sounds counterproductive, but the market maybe is not as flooded with musical acts as it would have been before.
Yeah, I've said this on here. The year we were deep COVID, so last March, let's say March to March, it felt like venues were getting any band they could just to
Just to say they're open.
say they're open and have music going. And there was a lot of shit I saw.
Oh, you mean like SHIT?
Yeah,
Okay.
terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible stuff. And then there for a while it became seeing the exact same lineup or the exact same bands just playing weekend after weekend because no one was playing or everybody was playing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
And
I bet.
now it's starting to emerge more and get a little better, but man, these shows at closed-in venues I don't like.
Well,
I'm not a fan. There's a big Halloween show coming up there. There's another big show in November with a bunch of friends playing and
Mass?
at Mass, and I'm just not. Or is that one at Lola's Inside? And I'm just not a fan of being
Nut to butt, elbow to elbow with a bunch of people you don't know?
inside. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you.
I mean, if we're all Eskimo brothers, then it's all good.
Yeah, but we're not that cold.
Yeah.
No.
But they were good. And then Saturday, went over to Hop Fusion. We talked about this last week on the show. Hop Fusion released a beer for Fossil Rim called the Gimsbach Beer. All proceeds go to help the Gimsbach. Yeah, they're. I think they're in the antelope handling.
Huh.
They have a bunch of them out there.
Okay.
So if you go out there and have a Gimsbach beer, the proceeds go to Fossil Rim while supplies last.
Mm.
Yeah. And then went to Maple Branch for Oktoberfest.
I'll have to look into the weird beer. I like weird beer. I still haven't tried that pizza thing you gave me. I did the other ones. I'm afraid of the pizza beer.
However they get the taste of black olive, green olive, and onion and pepperoni in a beer, I have no idea.
Honey, go in the garage and get that pizza beer out of the fridge and crack it open and tell us what it tastes like.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna have her taste it?
Unless she's three glasses deep out of the wine box. She probably would avoid the pizza beer.
Have you gone out or done anything?
Well, me and Uncle Tony went to see the Dick Boys not that long ago. Is that what I drank? Did you drink the pizza beer out of the fridge? You're a brave girl. Oh, what's this? She did.
Funny.
You didn't say anything.
When did y'all go see them? Because I need to go see them again.
I
I keep running into them.
2 weeks ago. Well, they're in Colorado now.
Yeah, I keep running into them in every state but here.
We went and
I ran into at Lola's.
it was in Burleson, and this venue in Burleson, it's Oscars. Is it called Oscars? Yeah, that's right. Because the shirt was in like old Aussie font, but
Is that the one
Oscars.
where Night Ranger played or whatever?
I don't know, but it's attached to the movie theater. But when you walk into the bar that is attached to the movie theater, and you go out the side doors, it's still outside, but they've like covered it over, and you can still see the sky because it's not completely covered over.
The movie theater.
It's kind of neat.
Right there at
Wilshire, all the way down, like all the way down.
Oh, okay, way out there.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was kind of neat. You know, there was no cover. It was just walk in. It was just the normal regular peoples and after we went up and said hey to them before they started playing, and then when they stopped playing, we hung out and we shot the shit for a while, and it was like COVID like put them in like a weird bad place because their livelihood is touring.
We saw
And
them
almost went away.
Matt and I saw them at the observatory at the Dimebag Fest or Dime Fest 2 weeks before all the COVID stuff broke out.
Mm.
That's probably where we got it. Was there? Probably got it from those Butcher Baby chicks or Dave Grohl's barbecue. But yeah, we saw them there, and it was very odd because we walked into the observatory, and I mean that place is packed. There's probably 3,000-4,000 people in there. Probably 3. Packed, and we're hearing songs we've heard at Broncos.
Yeah,
And you just hear them, and I was like, I wasn't expecting them to be playing already, and we're there. There's a big group of us, all the Do For It guys and everything, and Pat and I are just like, what the hell? Are you for real? And you walk down this long hallway, and you turn the corner, and all of a sudden you're in a room that's
amphitheater.
It reminds me of the old Bronco Bowl.
Oh,
kind of the way it's rounded with the stage down there that's kind of rounded, and I was just like, this is bizarre. And they
go ahead, honey, drink it.
They started into the old Pantera song they did with all the song titles and everything in there, lyrics or whatever, and the place went freaking nuts, started singing along. I was like, this is bizarre, this is crazy.
Yeah, I was talking to them, and
cool.
they were like, "Yeah, we didn't for almost the whole past year. They hadn't seen each other."
Yeah, because Fritz lives up there.
Yes, and so they'd have like every once in a while they'd do video chats or whatever to write or do something. But that was like the first show that they'd played where they had played together, and they were like, because they were saying once they started practicing again, their calluses were gone, so their fingers would be like bleeding and shit. And so it had been that long, but yeah,
I saw them a few months ago at Lola's. They showed up for FTW, and they had just played like one of their very first shows back together. It was a private show.
Yeah, and Johnson was saying that they
and that's what he was saying.
They were only getting like private gig shows, like a party or some sort of event, like sporadically. So like when they do
at Dirk's house.
I don't know if they did Dirk's house. He didn't say anything about it, but yeah, he would say like somebody would pay him $2,000 to come play this party, and that $2,000 was like all the money he made all month, and it was just kind of like that for like a year. So yeah, that the little nuance effects of the thing that we're living through, we get to see.
It was
I did not see Seth Rogen's Emmy rant. No.
Did you watch the Emmys at all?
I did not.
That's my favorite award show. I watch it every year because that's the one where they all sit around the table and get drunk.
Yes, that's where they have booze. Yes, and that you know what? I take that back. What was the Ricky Gervais award show? Was that it? Where he did it like
I think he's
5 times?
Yeah, I think he's done it.
Okay, that was the one. Because he's got like a beer on the podium when he's up there.
Yeah, Seth Rogen was one of the first people to come out. And that is what he said. It was like,
there's
a
rant?
way too many of us in here.
Oh.
How did they let this happen? And he kept going, they told us this was going to be outdoor. There's a roof on this place. This isn't outside at all. It's a big tent.
I guess I'll have to watch that. Because, yeah, Seth Rogen's, he's not short on memorable quotes.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The Emmys were great. It proved my point that Ted Lasso is the best show on TV right now.
I've not seen a single episode of Ted Lasso.
God, so good.
But I'm a fan of his.
But it turned me on to some other shows.
Eh?
Hacks on HBO Max. Started watching that. That's with Jean Smart, some other girl. She's a comedian in Vegas. This other girl starts writing for her. It's pretty good.
No, we don't get to watch too much TV.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
By the time we get 2 kids in bed and Laura goes to trying to write up her art and her comic, short story, big story book, and then me sitting there trying to write a book.
Yeah, you want to get in that?
Ain't scared.
You want to chit chat about that?
I can chit chat
When?
about that.
Okay, so yeah, kind of. What are you doing?
Okay, so when this pandemic, back to pandemic, when the pandemic started,
That's not the question.
I
Do you
know.
like your job?
Well, I don't. I kind of like my job, and I don't like.
No,
my
no,
job.
no.
Okay.
Do you like being the chief of police? I keep going.
No. Okay, so we were watching, and I remember we were watching the end of the last season of Peaky Blinders,
Is
and
that shit good?
you've never tell me you've never seen Peaky Blinders.
No.
Dustin.
What's it sit with?
Dustin.
What?
Okay,
It looked like
Okay.
Sherlock Holmes.
stop. Okay,
Okay.
so how am I going to put this?
What time period is it?
It's turn of the 1900s.
Okay.
So I was going to say,
England,
as
right?
far as it's in Birmingham, England.
Okay.
As far as the level of TV show, you've got Game of Thrones,
It's just
maybe The Wire and The Sopranos,
whoa.
and then Peaky Blinders.
Game of Thrones is not number one.
As far as massive like scale, yeah.
Okay.
So it's in there. It's top tier. Like
Is it done?
No, they just finished filming the final season, and they're going to have to do it without one of their main actresses because she died.
How? Oh,
Yeah.
COVID.
No, cancer.
Um.
But yeah, we were watching.
How many seasons are there?
This will be the. Is this the fourth season? Honey, how many Peaky Blinders?
This is on Amazon, right?
No.
What's it on?
Wait.
Is it on HBO?
Is it on?
I want to say I wanted to watch it,
Man, yeah, it's like it's one of my favorite shows ever.
but I felt like I was watching too much British stuff at the time. Oh, it's
Well,
on Netflix, so I needed to back off my Britishness.
Okay, the thing that really they don't skimp. Oh, 6. Okay, so it's season 6. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
Tom Hardy plays a character in this show.
I like that guy.
One of my favorite characters ever. He plays a guy named Alfie Solomons.
Is he better than Roy Kent?
Dude, just Google Alfie Solomons on YouTube and watch some of his interactions with, because he steals the show.
I want to hang out with him and have a beer.
Yeah, I would totally pick his brain about coolness.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
But yeah, Peaky Blinders. If I had to bestow on anyone who appreciates top tier television, it almost doesn't get better than Peaky Blinders.
92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Dude,
8.8 on IMDb.
It's something to behold.
96 people like this show. I know I wanted to watch it, but I'm serious.
Start at the beginning.
I wanted to watch it, but I had other stuff going on.
Yeah, Helen McCrory. That's right. She was married to the guy that played the sergeant in A Band of Brothers. Like that. That was. I can't. He was a British guy, but he played an American dude.
Who's it? Helen McCrory?
Helen McCrory is the one that dies.
Oh, I see her.
Yeah.
She plays Polly Gray.
Yep, Polly.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Peaky Blinders. There's no denying it. The first episode, it's fish hooks everywhere, and it starts and it's very humble. Like one of the first scenes is Cillian Murphy rides into Birmingham on a horse, and his family, they were gypsies. And
do they see Black Sabbath?
No, the soundtrack.
Okay.
Soundtrack. The main theme song is Nick Cage. And it's perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's
that's cool.
literally perfect. But yeah, as soon as anybody here watches Peaky Blinders, I want you to send me a thank you, because you will. And by the time you get to and it's funny, no matter how complicated or how intense or how crazy it gets, it doesn't let up. It's always that just deep. But it's not like, in Game of Thrones, like, from Game of Thrones in the first season, you don't realize the giant secret until like season 3 or 4. That's when you get to the, oh, no shit. And then all the stuff before that makes sense. It's not that kind of deep, but it is very human, and it's very humble, and it's very raw. And it's man, yeah, it's The Sopranos in Birmingham, England, around the turn of the 1900s.
It
So
has severe nudity, severe violence and gore,
yes,
severe profanity,
yes,
severe alcohol,
Yes.
drugs, and smoking.
yes.
All right, so yeah, we'll start watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a graphic orgy sequence in season 3.
Oh yeah, when they're in London. Yep.
Frequent male nudity from Cillian Murphy,
You
whose
get to
naked
see
butt can be
butts.
seen several times throughout the show. Nothing like male butt.
Yes.
All right, yeah. No, somehow when I clicked on IMDb, it took me straight to the parental guide. Okay,
But
so I'll check it
anyway,
out. So you were watching that.
So when we finished watching the last episode from the last season of Peaky Blinders, we turned to each other on the couch and we're like, "Do we really want to grow old doing this?" And
Watching people
watching
on TV.
TV, and we were like, "No." And the COVID had just hit, and the pandemic was crazy, and everybody was staying home. So we were talking, and I had written a short story before, and I'd always written little things, and Laura reads books like I wish I could. So we decided to start writing. And she picked a genre and an idea for a story, and I had my little genius little epiphany, and I piled all my little epiphanies together, and then I started writing my story. And my little idea went from a little story to now it's like it's at least 4 books, and all the books are. I say all the books. The first 2 books are probably very similar. The third book is very different, and the fourth book is very different.
Will it be an expansion pack for World of Warcraft?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
I might, I'll work on that. And yeah, so that's what we do. So we had a desk built in our den that came off of our bookshelf, and we've got my computer sitting next to her computer. And at night when the kids are in bed, I turn on my computer, and I start trying to type things out, and she crams on her computers, and she's trying to put her story into what do you call that? What do you call it, honey? The online comic. It's like God damn it.
Not a graphic novel. But
No. It's literally
the
on your
online
phone.
one. Yeah,
It's like
I got that Marvel app.
it's like a graphic novel on your phone, and she reads a bunch of them. Anyway, she's
That's what I'm reading all this old Star Wars stuff and
aha, and
side trail
and it's
Star Wars stuff.
just like that. And hers, she has a lot of them. There's a lot. Apparently, it's like a whole another world. Yeah, webtoons. That's it.
That's what they call them.
Yes, and it's like there's literally like a whole world of webtoons, and it's a big old genre deal. And so she's adapting her story to webtoons, and she's got a graphic tab, and she's writing and drawing all the things so she can do it just like that, where you scroll up and you're basically reading a comic by scrolling.
Okay. That's not the ones I'm using then, because mine actually turn pages and stuff.
Oh no, hers is like just like on your phone. When you scroll up, it's just spinning. She says Webtoon is a brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, she does that, and I do my thing. And speaking of Peaky Blinders, the general circle of the world that I'm writing, I based on Peaky Blinders, where I based it around a family. So, and it's not like Peaky Blinders, but it is in this way where there's a collection of family, and they have this. At the beginning of the story, they have this plantation. It takes place pre-Civil War, and it's just outside of Natchez, Mississippi. And at the time, Natchez, Mississippi was this giant economic. I say giant; it was actually a small town, but it was a huge economic hub where, for the time, more than half of the millionaires that lived in the United States lived in Natchez. So it's like this booming thing. And
that's true?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
At the time, more than half of the millionaires in the whole country lived in Natchez.
Really?
Yeah. And so I knew that it was going to be historical fiction because my idea was based on there was 2 stories out of the Civil War when the Union forces were coming down and the Confederates were all, so they pooled all their hard monies, all their gold and their silver and their banknotes and their riches and whatever, and they moved them. They collected them and they moved them to keep them away from the Union. Well, both of those treasure troves disappeared. No one knows what happened to them. They just disappeared. They're gone forever. They turned into old money. And so I wanted to use that. And Laura's going to say, don't give away too much.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't give away too much.
All right. So, in a nutshell, this family starts off. They've got a kind of a plantation going with a farmhouse, but it grows into this giant house where they now belong in this echelon of the millionaires. But their fortunes and their riches are sort of not solid. So there's this tumultuous undertone with how the economics of the time worked, and the thing that's really slowing me all down is not only we don't get a lot of time to write, and when you write, you have to put yourself in that mind frame. You can't just turn
That's
around
what I was going to ask.
You can't do that, and so
how much are you thinking about this as you?
Dude, well,
like during the day while you're doing stuff or whatever.
I make myself little notes. Remind me at 6 o'clock after I got off work to blah 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 blah. So I got a bunch of those going. Yeah. So when I started writing, when we started this whole thing, I didn't know squat about writing books, and I just knew that I kind of had a knack for it, storytelling. So I went and I got like I told you a while back, I got a subscription to the masterclass. And I started watching master classes from very well-respected and legendary, to use a cheesy word, writers.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched like 6 of these classes, and these classes aren't short. Like
no, they're
they're
fucking
very long. So I watched 6 or 7 of them, and it really opened my eyes. Like it told me just this giant mud puddle that I was stepping in, and every writer, every single one of them, they all have the same basic ideals, but they all have their own flavors of how to get around the rules that you do and do not break. So there's no cookie cutter way. There's no formula. There's just things that you do and don't do, things you can and can't do, and things that you could get away with. Why not try it? So I watched all those things, and what I took away from it was like Stephen King. He didn't do a master class, but some of those guys talk about him. And I've watched a bunch of Stephen King's YouTube videos, and what he does is he comes up with characters that are so interesting that when you put them together, something's going to happen. And that's why his books are so fucking big, because he has no plot, he has no theme, he has no nothing. He just puts these things together with this idea. And that's where, his Dark Towers thing comes from. He came up with this framework to write in, and he just put the characters in there, and they just go crazy. That's what makes him different. And then, like Dan Brown, the guy, Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons and all that,
mm-hmm.
He has a formula that he put inside of that same sort of idea. And that's why his books take 2 or 3 years to write. But when he's done, it's very complex, it's very broad, and there's this giant arc rainbow of an idea that you get at the end. And then, the one that I watched first was Neil Gaiman, and I got a lot from that.
Who's a badass?
Who is a legend. And yeah, Neil Gaiman, he's his penchant for imagination and turning things that are typical and rewriting them in an untypical way, it separates him from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I watched James Patterson. I watched his, and he's
still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive, and he's amazing. And I've never read any of his books. I just know from everybody else that reveres him, and then I know now why they revere him. And every one of the classes I watched, they all have this little note where this is how they do their little trick. And one of his tricks, he's got a bunch, but one of them was when he's done writing the book, first draft, second draft, third draft, whatever, and he thinks he's getting close, he will literally write a bullet point list of every single physical possible way the book could end, and he'll pick the one you'll never guess, and then he'll finish his final draft around that. That's genius.
That's kind of badass.
Yeah. And then I watched a class from a writer named Salman Rushdie. You ever heard of Salman Rushdie?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a book called The Satanic Verses,
Yeah.
which would be all about this show.
What?
But yeah, his idea. He was very classical, and he's very educated. And he's born in India and raised in London, and he's very world traveled. Um, he's very human and very subtle, and I get why he's like a award-winning author. But yeah, once I watched all those classes, it made me calm down because when you're writing and you don't know what you're doing, you're But once I realized that I don't have to be like anybody, I just have to understand and listen to the ones that came before me to know what I'm doing when I'm doing it right, and when I'm doing it and I'm doing it wrong. And writing a first book, it's very daunting. It's more it's the hardest thing I've ever done, by any stretch. And I'm like 40 chapters deep in this first book, and I've already got plotted the second book and the third book and the fourth book, and the fourth book might even turn into a fifth. And writing a book is hard.
When do you decide to end the first book?
Good question. And this is where, one of the things that Neil Gaiman said. He's like, when you're pitching your book to a publisher, if you can't tell them what it's about in like a minute, they lose interest.
Yeah.
So every book has to have a focus point. It has to have what happened. It has to have, literally simply what the story's about. And that's where I got kind of lost, because when I started writing, I came up with this little cool idea. And then I introduced this family, and all these families, all the members in it have their own personalities, and they have their own little worlds, and all their neighbors and the people that they're in business with. And it just went whoosh, and it got gigantic really fast. And I watched a show, a masterclass by a guy named David Mamet. David Mamet is a world famous playwright. He writes plays, and I watched his because his focus was how to cut out shit you don't need to tell a story, because he's got this much time to write a play. And he's like, if I'm writing something and I even if it's the best thing I ever wrote, if it doesn't literally push the story forward, I get rid of it. I haven't got to that point yet, because when you finish your first draft, that's when the work starts. Because the first draft is you're literally supplying yourself with the clay to make a sculpture. That's when you start shaving shit away.
The same thing with a movie.
Yeah.
With a long
edit.
script. You got 130 pages.
Yep.
You shoot 130 pages, and then you drop it down.
And then the edit room floor.
The edit room just starts cutting stuff down so you can fit it all within time.
So I've got all of this activity, and I know what I want to happen at the end of the first book, and I'm almost there. But then when I get to the end, do I make it a Stephen King book where I make this big giant epic epitome, thing you could defend yourself with? Or do I shave it down and take stuff out that could be put out, could be left out? I don't know. I haven't got to that point yet. All I know is, you and I have talked a couple of times about my grand scheme.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
I wouldn't get in that right now.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know if I need to break that out yet.
No, don't talk about that.
Okay.
You don't want that getting loose.
No, and I still think that.
It's amazing and it's really cool, but that's for a later date.
Okay. So yeah. So when and when today I had the day off, but I've got kids and I've got a kid at home, and I had my computer on, and the thing that you have to do to get into the mindset to write, and I got this from what's his name, the guy that wrote Devil in a Blue Dress. God dang it. He's a black dude. I watched his whole show.
Kanye West?
No, I wouldn't watch his. Who wrote the Devil? You got to Google there. I've watched
Walter Mosley.
Yeah, Walter Mosley. Yes, Walter Mosley.
But Kanye West did do the song. So
get out.
Yeah, no, there's the song "Devil in a Blue Dress."
Dang it! Well, he got it from Walter Mosley.
Yeah.
And where was I going with Walter Mosley? I watched his
Oh, I'm sorry. He's devil in a nude dress.
Oh,
Kanye is.
thank you.
Okay.
There's some clarity.
Sorry.
So Walter Mosley, his method is he'll write 1,000 words a day and stop. And then the next day, he'll read those 1,000 words, and then he'll write another 1,000 words, and he'll stop. And he's been doing that every day for 30 years. I can't do that because sometimes I'll get on a roll and I'll spit out 5,000 words, and it just happens. And dude, when you're flowing and going, don't stop, just fucking let it out. But yeah, sometimes like today, I was reading the chapter that I'm currently writing, and it's up to like 1,500 words. And I've got through 1,500 words, and when I get to the end, I'm like, God damn it. And you have to, it's got to go forward, and you've got all these moving parts. And to get to the end, because, your chapter can only be 2,500 to 5,000 words typically. So far, most of my chapters are pretty short.
What? So, non-disclosure here. You sent me 2 chapters.
They have nothing to do with each other.
They have nothing to do with each other,
No.
which is awesome. Was that really the first chapter?
The
of the
very
book?
first chapter, yes.
And how many words were in that?
Oh, a lot.
Because I've read both of them twice.
So the first one, I think it was like 3,000 words, 3,500 words.
There was a lot of words in there.
Quite a bit.
Because I remember I read the first time on my phone, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this was just
It's
scroll,
still going,
scroll,
still
scroll
going.
as I'm reading through it. But it sucked me in pretty quick to where I didn't want to pull away.
Dun, dun.
Which was a good thing.
You want to hear a funny story about that story? About that first chapter? Everything in the first chapter except the part with the slaves, that happened to me.
Oh, really?
That whole thing literally happened to me. That happened to me in Fort Scott. Except for the slaves part. But yeah.
It's a different time period.
That whole thing, and I've got a dent in my head from where I dropped that rock on my head. And that whole...
Wait, this explains everything.
I just
This explains
and when you write,
all of you.
You take your life. You take in all of your life experience, and that's another something. When you read a book from somebody that's like 20 years old, they don't have shit to say. They haven't been through the fucking ringer. They haven't been, poor rich, and heartbroken and destroyed, and all that.
That's why I hate when people put memoirs out when they're 50, 40.
40, that'd be questionable.
40 or 50, you're like...
But 50, a 50-year-old person who's been on the Rolling Stones, pretty good memoir.
Well, Dave Grohl's fixed to put one out.
Oh, yeah. But justified.
But I'm like, you got life to live.
He's got a lot to live.
You got more.
Yes.
You got more to go.
Yes. Or he could be hit by a car or die by COVID.
I mean, he could, but he's got enough documentaries around to...
Yeah. But yeah, that first chapter, the very first chapter, I wanted to put the main character in a bad spot, and that's the worst spot I've ever been through, so I used it.
I only have one thing to critique on it. I don't know if you want me to do it on the show, or we can do it later.
I ain't scared. And besides...
It's not a scare thing. I just didn't know what you want to give away.
Besides, the first chapter, the first draft doesn't mean book.
Well, it's being... I guess what's going to be one of the main characters, lead character?
Sam is like one of the main characters.
So I don't know so he's one of the main. He's
Yeah,
not super lead, but he's one of the main.
If you put a movie poster up, he'd be the one on the front.
Okay. He's telling the story from first person point of view. But
there's a narrator.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be. It's narrated. The people back then didn't talk like.
Okay, this is where I can.
You wrote so that if it's narrated,
that
changes
and the whole people didn't talk like that then and now. That is the other thing that makes this take forever to write, because they didn't use our language, they didn't use our words, they didn't use our phrases, they didn't use our lingo or our slang. So that is about half of my research, is the words that existed and didn't exist. And I can't tell you how many times I'm like, fuck, this didn't come out till like 1890. I can't use that.
Yeah.
And because I don't want it to come up later where, let's say hypothetically, there's like a book reading and somebody stands up and like, I see this thing here and that didn't exist until 1874 and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I haven't done that. I've literally avoided that every single chance I could, and it's so slowing. And
I can get it, because
I-
that's the one thing that only kind of triggered me. But if you say it's narrated, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a narrator, like,
Kick
and
him back,
or just
yeah.
partial narrator, like, think. And this is another something about how many aspects putting into this book that I'm doing. It's all the influences I had as a kid, and the very first one I thought of was Stand By Me. There's a movie, it's first person, but there's a narrator, so you get to see their conversations and whatever. But then there's Richard Dreyfuss talking
Which
over
is another Stephen King.
Yep,
book,
and,
so.
yep, called The Body.
Yep. Yeah, no, that was great. And then you sent me the second one, which has nothing to do with it.
No, and
which was a total in my head the whole time. Like, you've got this written out good enough to where the picture's painted, you can visualize everything that's happening. That's a big thing with me with books. I hate half-ass books that are just, we need to move the story along, but we're not going to paint the picture of what's happening or what's going on.
There's a nice little gray area you have to land in. And that was when I very first started writing. I over detailed everything, and I didn't know, because in my head I was like, well, if I don't tell you, how would you know? Well, here's the magic of it. When you read a book, the reader automatically starts to paint their own personal picture of what they're reading. So you don't have to give them everything. You just have to give them enough to set that little frame.
Well, have you read the Game of Thrones books?
No. I know the giant.
Well, yeah. George Martin is like, his details freaking stupid. Like,
Excessive?
that gets way excessive.
Oh, okay.
And it gets annoying.
So this is
super annoying.
And Laura finds this hysterical, and so does most people. Out of my whole life, I've only read like 7 or 8 books my whole life, and 5 of them
were Choose Your Own Adventures.
No. Oh, I know that's one of them. And I still have that book. No, 5 of them were Anne Rice books. And Anne Rice,
which are great,
is a masterful writer.
Yeah.
And she gives you just enough. And, when you're reading her books, even if, like, there's a scene in one of them where you're on a boat and you're going to see Amarius. It's another vampire. And she literally doesn't give you everything, but she gives you just enough that you can make up the pictures yourself. And that's the other little catch about reading books, is you have to have an imagination. You have to. And that might be why not everybody reads, because not everybody has an imagination.
That's true. But the second chapter you sent was straight up Tarantino-esque. It was great. I mean, it just played out like something you would see with that time period. I was like, I can see this totally in Django or something happening. Like, this is cool. It's cool. I liked it. And then with the chapter ends, I'm like, yeah.
Okay,
all right,
what happens next? And I've already got that chapter after that one I wrote. And the funny thing about the one I sent you and the one after that is I haven't put them in the first book because I think they happen in the second book. So I've literally got like a little 5 or 6 chapters already written that go in the second book, and that's one of them.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty damn good.
Yeah, you hear that, honey? I'm not wasting my time. Woo woo!
Did you go back and research and look up all the guns too and everything?
Yes. So at the time, and this is another something amazing that I've learned in this little process. So much shit changed at the Civil War.
So much changed.
The world fucking changed at the Civil War. So before the Civil War,
think about that. The world changed in all the major wars.
Yes. And the Civil War is no exception. Like at the time, they didn't have, cowboy revolvers and repeater rifles. That was like a major step forward in technology.
Single shot muskets.
And at the time, like in that chapter that I sent you, where the guy was like handed him his rifle, and he was like, "Hey, this is a such and such," and he's like, "Yeah, it's a whole lot cheaper getting bullets for this and that." That was all research, but that rifle he's got was brand spanking new. Like it was. And really, I was stretching reality there, because
5-shot 22, isn't it?
Well,
something like that.
You can put bullets in it, but at the time,
feed down the rail.
I don't think it was around in the South. It was around in the Northeast. So I'm stretching reality there. Like it was like brand spanking new, but it was possible. It wasn't impossible. It was possible to have that. And yeah, man, there's a I was going to send you this
It was
scene.
a Spencer rifle, wasn't it?
I think it was a Spencer.
Because the Spencer and the Henrys were what ran around that time.
Yes,
And the Spencers were the repeating.
And they were very like holy dog shit, you know. But
you know how I know all this?
Red
Dead Redemption.
Okay.
That's how I know
I have a little Red Dead Redemption experience, but I didn't get that deep into it. But yeah, like, you know, and how much things cost back then. And I was going to send you this particular chapter that there was a ton of research that I put in to write it. And it wasn't that the chapter was like, you know, lighting up off the page. It was, I was that proud that I got through the whole chapter and I had to rewrite a bunch of it to make it physically possible. But yeah, that, man, I can't tell you how much headache I've like gotten to a point. It's like, yeah. And then I'll go look it up. It's like, fuck, I got to take it out, come up with something else that makes sense. And then make it, you know, interesting and appealing. Man, yeah, writing. And you know what? I'm probably shooting myself in the face. I picked probably one of the hardest genres to write a first book in. Like, you know, I should have done what Laura did. And she did a post-apocalyptic, which sounds totally fun. And everything that you know now is totally possible.
Yeah.
It's just wicked and messed up.
That's awesome.
But no.
That's what she's doing. That's
I
great.
picked something like an idiot. And, you know, I just thought of, you know, I like the Scooby-Doo story I told you. I grabbed Scooby-Doo and I grabbed Peaky Blinders and I grabbed Stand By Me and I grabbed all this other crap, the Goonies. And I put all of that together. And that's turning in, and that's probably what's still chugging me forward. Is it is cool to me, and I know at the end, the end of the first book is kind of depressing, but the end of the second book, really the whole third book is like I got tickles in my balls to write that, and then the end of the fourth book, at the very end of the whole thing, is just like pay dirt, and to get there, I'm gonna have to walk through a minefield.
So, the question, which when you came on a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it after everybody left. What are you going to do about the N-word?
Well, just like you said, when you told me that that interview with Tarantino, and I've literally, when I get, because it back then it was just common. It was just right off the tongue. It was, you know, everybody said it. And to make it a period piece, to make it fit, and it bothers me still to write it. It still bothers me.
Well, it should.
But
I mean, it is.
But when I get to a point where I can say yes or no if I have to use it, sometimes I take it out to get around it. But when certain characters are talking, they're super bigots. That's just how it was.
That is how it was.
And that so yeah, sometimes, and you know, sometimes when you're writing dialogue, you don't have to put said so and so said, because the sentence literally sounds like what they would say anyway. So you've already got this preconceived mental or maybe even vocal in your head of that particular character. And yeah, when certain sentences are said and certain sentences have certain words put in it, you know it's one of two or three people that are saying it. So yeah, I use it, but I try not to. And then, you know,
of course, that can come down later, more like when an editor
like
gets a hold of it and you start talking about it and stuff, and
give it to a professional.
It can be like, well, you know,
yes,
we can probably get around it, or, you know, we live in a woke time. This book won't sell.
Yes,
if you do this.
That was another kind of a fear. You know, who's going to want to read it? So, you know, that also puts added pressure to make it impactful, and you know, not justifiable, but needed.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, you know, Tarantino, he got some grief for
I bet
Django.
Yeah, well, he's like got the record, doesn't he? He's got the
fuck record. I
yes.
think. But do you remember? Did you ever watch Deadwood when it was on HBO?
I only watched little snippets. I didn't watch an actual episode, but I do know about Deadwood.
I was super excited because that cast was badass, and I'm a big Timothy Oliphant fan. Thought he was badass, and I was all excited about that show, but I watched the first 2 episodes and it was just
Curse word, curse word, curse word, curse word, curse word.
and it wasn't just the normal curse words. It was cock and cunt everywhere.
And you have to go back to see when those words
That's
showed
the thing.
up.
I was like, why are they doing this? Like, why are they saying this and stuff? You know, like what's bringing us around? No, that was normal speech back then.
Yeah, when it came out and it was like the new thing. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was kind of.
it was shocking over the top, and I was like, well, Calamity Jane, you know, running around calling everybody cocks and cunts and stuff, and she's a drunk alcoholic, and everybody just like the cussing was just so Swearingen just cussing looks like crazy, and I was just like, this doesn't really. These aren't the westerns
Well, it's
I'm
just
used to
yeah,
watching.
it's not the Western you're used to seeing.
And then you actually go and look it up, and like, oh no, all this was frequent back then. This is not HBO just trying to spoof something up. This is actually research has gone into it, and
Yep.
this is the way she talked, and this is the way she acted, and she was constantly drunk, and I was
And
like, shit.
now, okay, so there's some variance there because there was a memoir that I read. It was I can't remember the guy's name, but he made a journal. He went to the red light district. I think it was in Boston, and he basically wrote down everything he went to, every person he talked to, and everything they said for like 3 or 4 days, and just the way he spoke and the way the other people spoke to him. You couldn't read that now. You couldn't act that now. You couldn't do that now. There's no way. Like reading his memoirs, it's difficult. But that's how they talked back then.
This was the article I saw about it. It was in the New Yorker talking about the cussing in Deadwood. Fuck is used 43 times in the first episode. 1 hour episode. That's a fuck almost every minute. It says it was used back then, but it was mostly a non-sexual use of it. The intensifier and sexuality of it didn't come around until around World War One. Motherfucker, the same thing. 1880s is when that was used, and then it says here they got into cunt and cock and talking about it. But yeah, the whole article was just talking about how it was
now
correct back then.
Does it say regions? Because different regions had different dialect normals.
Well, Deadwood was also the place where everybody ran to from all over the place when they were headed out west. So you had
So I
all
could see
sorts
it.
of people because you had the Irish coming there. You
Totally
had,
possible.
some of the British coming there, then Southerners and Northerners, and yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, Deadwood. I guess that might be one that I have to revisit because it's time sensitive to the thing that I'm swimming in.
Well, what year are you in?
Right now, I think I'm up to 1857, 1858. Yeah, Civil War was 61 to 64, 61, 64.
And so this was after Deadwood was after Civil War's 1870s.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, everything changed, dude. Everything changed.
Yeah.
Like in the book that I'm writing, the Carlisle family they built this giant, massive house, to show their stature and their place in the region, and I put a indoor toilet in their house, but I don't think it existed for like another year or two from when I put this house together. But it's close. But yeah, that's the first indoor toilet in the country was during the Civil War.
So last weekend I went to the Dallas Heritage Village. You ever been over there?
Negative.
So it's just south of downtown. It was an old area that was part of downtown Dallas before they put in.
Is it on the other side of the river?
I-30.
Is it on the south side of the river?
It's in the Cedars. So you know where? Oh shit. Farmers Market is? Dallas Farmers Market?
I think so.
It's a stone's throw from there.
Oh.
But what it is they roped off 80 acres, I think it is,
That's a
something
lot.
like that. But it's called the Dallas Heritage Village, and it's all old buildings.
Oh.
Went over there to shoot some engagement for Susie's daughter,
Yay,
and
Susie.
they have houses in there, and I was trying to look it up. But one of the first houses in Dallas that has indoor plumbing is there because the guy that owned it was a plumber or worked in the piping and plumbing
Yeah.
trade, and it's a marble bathroom with a sink.
Does it got a water box over the back of the thing?
I can't remember if the toilet did or not. But it's a sink, toilet, and bathtub all in house. But they also have houses out there that
Outhouse right next to the back door.
outhouses next to the back door. And what it was, that was an old part of downtown Dallas. And I guess when they made 30 come through, they took that land, preserved it, and then some of the houses have been moved there from areas that they were going to be wrecked or whatever. But it's the largest and finest collection of 19th century pioneer and Victorian homes and commercial buildings. But oh, Susie said it did have a water box.
Dun, dun, dun.
But it's kind of badass because they have what was considered a mansion back in the 1800s. It's a double log cabin, a 2-room log cabin with one roof with a breezeway. And they added on, built a second story on it, and that was considered a
mansion
in the 1800s. Yeah, and they have the blacksmith and all the other little buildings. Most of those houses out there, the kitchen was not in the house because it was too hot.
Yes.
It
was.
A lot of the plantation houses are that way too.
They have. There's variables. Like one of the houses that I was reading on it's in Natchez. The smokehouse was part of what they considered a kitchen, and it was just out back of the house. But that's where they smoked all their meat.
But they usually didn't put it with the house because it was too hot.
Yes, well, that got it real hot. But certain houses in the South didn't need heat.
Yeah.
But some of the houses were modeled after houses in the North, and you can go and see just those old coal stoves with the smokestack sticking out of the top, going into a floor somewhere, and then that was right next to their fireplace where they kept their cauldron or whatever the hell to hang for stews and whatnot. But yeah, especially the regional South-wise, they didn't need a lot of heat.
We all had a bunch of plantation homes out in Georgia or South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Oh man, you know what?
About Myrtle Beach, right?
Yeah. There was this place, and it was. I thought I'd stepped into the Twilight Zone. A friend of mine had moved out by Little River, and then there was this big golf course. Shocker, golf course in Myrtle Beach, and we were driving down this place. They said, "Yeah, Crab Road," and we wanted to know why they called it Crab Road. So we went driving down this road, and it was swamps on both sides, but the roads when you're it's just a long gravel road, and it was like this dark color. But as we approached it, the dark color started turning light because the road was completely inhabited by crabs, and they would just get out of the way, like for hundreds of feet.
That's crazy.
Yes. And then at the end of this road, after the crabs got out of the way and you got to the end of the road, there was this little patch of dirt. I mean, it was just a little patch of earth, but there was a 2-story house, like dilapidated beyond repair, but it was all by itself. It was surrounded by water, and that's where they built the golf course. It was all around it, and they never ripped this old shit-ass house down, but it had been there since, dude, the Grapes of Wrath.
Really?
Yes, it was just, if I'd had a camera. I don't know if that thing is still there, but yeah, it was just the crazy. It was Twilight Zone. I felt like I was going to get jumped by somebody with a knife.
Have you ever been the ones in Louisiana?
No.
The big ones?
Nope.
usually when I go to New Orleans, we'll swing by the Oak Alley, which is the one that's in Vampire Diaries or
The Vampire Chronicles.
no, not the Chronicles. The Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, Vampire Chronicles.
Oh yeah, okay. Where he rides down off the levee and down
Yep.
between all the oak trees to the
Mhm.
house, and then the house burns down. Whatever. But that one's a excellent example of basically like the ones they have out here at the Heritage Village. You know, it's 4 rooms on the
Bottom floor.
bottom floor with a staircase going up to another 4 rooms pretty much directly above, and they have all the kitchens out away from it. It's an outer building where they would cook, and behind that one they still have all the slave quarters and everything.
Yes, and some of those places, when I was doing research on how to write up a plantation, man, some of them their slave quarters is like a little city. There's just so many built. Some people had hundreds and hundreds of slaves on their plantation, and they had to live somewhere. So they built these slums right next to their house. But yeah, it was kind of like a little city. They had a what do they call it? It was not a sugar. It had this giant copper pot, huge, massive copper pot for sugar plantations.
A Chester copper pot.
Yes, and that's how they cooked out the sugar from the sugar cane. It was this big giant pot. And some of the plantations you can go to and visit, for tours or whatever, they still have the pot.
Really?
Yeah, it's still there. But
I
yeah,
don't know
and they would
if
it'd be like this community surrounding this thing. Man, it was like biblical.
What's interesting with the one out there is like once they were freed, they didn't leave.
Stayed.
They
right.
stayed
That's just
because
what
it was
they
all
knew.
family.
Yep.
They felt like they were family with the plantation owners, and the plantation owners treated them like family. It wasn't, that's a sugarcane plantation.
Yeah.
And
that was the premise, sort of one of them of this book I'm writing is this big family that's controlling this area, or embedded in this area. The patriarch is very typical. He's very controlling and bigoted and hateful, but it's his upbringing. That's just all he's known. It's all he was raised to do, and his children are not. They see the hatred, and they see the pain and suffering, and they try to undermine the status quo. And there's some conflict that I haven't really written into it yet, but I know that's where it's going. But yeah, just like when the Civil War ended, they didn't leave because A, there was nowhere to go. B, that's just all they knew, and C, the family that they had grown to be raised in and raised around came to, and yeah, that just it turned into what we know today.
well, and most of the time, if you look at deep into history, most of the time the situation was cool. I mean, they were treated terribly, but not all slaves were beat and shot and whipped and destroyed.
Yeah,
a lot of them were just worked, and
it was
were considered part of the family.
Yeah, the Hollywoodism has probably pushed that narrative a little farther than it typically was, but it did exist.
It did exist. It totally did. But if you look at history deeply, it wasn't rampant.
It wasn't like an automatic.
Yeah.
It was there, but it wasn't automatic.
Not every slave owner was, an asshole.
So when I was doing research, some of the plantation owners, and I use this a little bit, I'll probably use it more, but they educated them. They weren't animals to them. Slaves were commodity. It was, just the typical how it was at the time. And they I don't know what the word is, not endured. They partook in what was normal. And yeah, and there wasn't, some slave owners were famous for being helpful and being aiding.
Didn't Gone with the Wind get a bunch of shit for not? They portrayed it being too nice.
I
was trying
did.
to
I
think.
did
There was
read
something.
something about Gone with the Wind, like the lady that played the main kitchen slave. She's like the first African American chick that won an Academy Award.
Yeah,
Um, and
it
I
got a
think
bunch of.
I think they did catch flack for not being
I
not
thought the
accurate,
new
but
woke world we live in was trying to get it canceled or disappeared because it wasn't true to how things really were back then. It's a freaking movie.
yeah, from the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the 30s.
Did you ever watch The North and the South?
I watched some of it when I
Growing
was a
up?
kid.
That's another that came into my head when I was reading that first chapter.
Yeah, some of the visual aesthetics I needed, I got from
With a young,
from
hot
Patrick
Patrick Swayze.
Swayze.
Yeah.
I got from a Pinterest from that show.
Who else was in that?
Um,
Who was his
I
love
can't
interest?
I can't remember. No, the other guy, the other dude. He was a
His love interest.
no.
I can't quit you.
I think he was one of the Hardy Boys or something. He was famous for the time. The other lead actor guy.
There were 2 seasons, right? There were 3 books
I think so.
and 2 seasons. Leslie A. Down and Terry Garber.
No, what was the other dude? Like you know him. Not Patrick Swayze, but Parker Posey.
Parker Posey,
Isn't
the
it?
girl?
No. Parker something or other. Posey. Look, who's the other guy?
Parker Posey's a female.
Is it? What's the other guy's name?
Philip Kazanoff?
No.
David Carradine?
No.
He was in it.
Oh, I believe you. But what's the other guy?
The other guy, Philip Kazanoff.
Oh, God dang it. Hold on.
Lewis Smith.
What's his name?
I'm looking through the. I forgot Kirstie Alley was his
Yep,
love interest.
she was in
That's
it.
right.
George Stanford Brown? No.
Terry Garber.
God dang it.
James Reed.
What's that dude's name?
I see him right here.
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
I thought that was him.
I can't remember his name, but he's back in the 80s. He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Scott Bakula.
Not Scott, but I knew he was in it.
Came out in 85,
Not-
man.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is streaming anywhere, if woke society shut it down because it has to do with the Civil War. We can't watch anything to do with Civil War anymore.
Kids.
They want to cut the scene out of Django Unchained where the holes don't fit over the eyes.
But that's funny.
That's funny as shit. It's making fun of the Klan. My goddamn wife spent all night
Yeah.
cutting these potato sacks for you guys. You ungrateful sons of bitches. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know.
Damn it.
Yeah, but there were 3 books. There was 2 miniseries that covered book 1 and book 2. That's when Kirstie Alley was hot.
Yeah, that was Cheers days.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not seeing the guy who I'm thinking of, and I've got pictures, stills from the thing at home on my computer
Of him?
of the guy that I'm thinking of.
Shit, what time is it? God dang it.
What time is it?
I had 2 more things I want to get into.
Oh, I gotta pee like a mug, like I'm about to pop in your chair.
Well, that's weird.
And that'd be that may be a bad choice of words.
I'll be quick on this one then.
Hmm.
I was going to do a big rundown, but I'll be quick.
Shoot.
So 22 years ago, on this day,
Mm-hmm.
I was at Walt Disney World.
Really?
I was at, I believe we were at the Animal Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly,
Mm-hmm.
which closes early. And so for dinner, we decided to go to Downtown Disney, which is what it was called at the time. Now I think it's the Shops at Disney. That's where a bunch of the restaurants are and a bunch of stores and their little entertainment district that used to be Pleasure Island,
Whoa, sir.
a dance club.
Oh yeah, I bet it was.
No, well, it was all dance clubs and an outdoor stage where bands would come play. And then on the other side, they had your generic stuff, your House of Blues,
Sabora.
the Orlando House of Blues. No, not Sabora. Some big giant arcade with VR, and then a Virgin Megastore and stuff like that. So we went down there to eat dinner at Rainforest Cafe.
Okay.
And we're eating dinner, and me and my sister wanted to run down to Virgin Megastore just for the hell of it. And so we got done eating, and it's this long run. It's like a mile from one end of this Disney shops thing. You go by all these shops, you go by the Lego store, you go by all this crap, you go by Pleasure Island. As we're running by Pleasure Island, on stage is Bon Jovi playing. So we do a little stop, watch John and crew for a little bit, and then keep running. So we're trying to get the Virgin Megastore before it closes because she was after something and so was I. So we finally get over there. They got like 10 minutes before they close. I walk in.
You're like, it's okay, man. I need 30 seconds.
And I see all these vinyl records of what I'm after, but not the CD. Had I known back then, I should have just bought as many of the vinyl as I could, and I could have retired by now. But I grabbed the CD of The Fragile. It is 22 years old today.
Wow.
And I bought it there.
Man.
And I listened to both those discs the rest of the trip. Sitting in the hotel in the evenings as we were waiting to go to bed or whatever. Driving back from Florida nonstop.
With your headphones on.
Play disc 1, get all the way to the end of it. Play disc 2, get all the way to the end of it. Start it over. Disc 1, disc 2. That is what changed me. I liked Nine Inch Nails before that. I didn't become super fan until that came out. And that record was panned hard.
Just for being different.
Yeah. Well, now everybody looks back on it. It's one of the greatest records ever released, especially in the 90s. It's on all the top 500, 100 lists. But yeah, when it came out, everybody like didn't know what to do with it. They thought it was just a bunch of extra bullshit. It didn't need to be 2 albums. There was a bunch of angst and look at me, I'm a troubled person, blah, blah, blah.
It's going to be angst.
Yeah. Yeah. But it got panned pretty hard. But now, especially after the reissue a few years ago, when they put the definitive edition out, it's funny because in there is a book. In all the Nine Inch Nails definitive editions, when you open it up, there's a book in there that talks about recording, writing, all that stuff. Mixing, like, Trent didn't know what the track list was going to be. He just had all these songs, and it took a third person to kind of start putting them together.
Building the little Lego puzzle.
Trying to, merge them all together and make them cohesive. And that was like right up to almost printing. The record label was like, we got to take this and get it printed and ready to go.
You need to hurry up.
And this is a massive project. It's a double disc, and you have all this crazy fold-out artwork for everything. But anyway, the definitive edition, it's pretty funny because it talks about all the reviews and how bad they were. Like, you put them all in there. Just like, look at all these bad reviews of what everybody said. And now, everybody takes that back. And when the definitive edition came out, all the reviews were completely different from all the same outlets. It's kind of funny. But, yeah, that record is 22 years old today.
Huh.
I want to go back to 22 years ago.
22 years ago?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was before a bunch of stuff happened.
Yeah. Man. If I could go back and tell myself 22 years ago what to invest in,
we would not be sitting here.
We would not be sitting here. Then this popped up. Then I went in the show on this.
Okay.
Del Rio and Haitian. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, what?
You've heard about the crisis in Del Rio? 14,000 Haitians sitting underneath the bridge.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really ending the show on that happy note.
And not the volcano that's currently putting lava through people's.
How amazing is that?
Swimming pools and shit. I showed Laura that video earlier before I came over here.
The swimming pools, just lava. turning into boiling
I was
toast.
telling Laura, it just reminded me of George Carlin. He's just complaining about why would you build your house on the side of a mountain volcano and wonder why you got lava in the living room.
And what's funny is they're like, well, the last time it erupted was 50 years ago.
Okay.
50 years.
It's
not that long.
It's a volcano.
And it's a volcano.
You're going to build, like kids, I mean.
You knew it was still active. You knew it was still rumbling in the ground. It's not like Vesuvius that's completely blew its dome off and done. It's not.
It's not the super volcano underneath Yellowstone. It's not going to take 25,000 years to pop.
I'm so ready for Mount St. Helens to blow again.
Well, Mount St. Helens, that caldera is attached
to
Yellowstone.
And that's the relief point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. If Yellowstone pops, we're all dead.
Yeah, that's going to end the country.
Yeah. We won't have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
China taking over,
we'll be moving.
COVID or anything. It'll be done.
Yeah, we'll be moving.
So I'm gonna file this under duh.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like my favorite already.
Because this story came up, and this is the headline, posted 11 hours ago. Couple appears to have sex in the middle of Nocturnal Wonderland Music Festival. A passerby at Nocturnal Wonderland 2021 recorded a video of what appears to be two ravers engaging in public sex on the grounds of the SoCal Music Festival. I thought that's what you did at raves.
Go for it.
I thought that's what you did at these big electronic festivals was just...
Man, people do that they did that at Grateful Dead shows. I mean, it's not...
They did that at Lollapalooza on the lawn at freaking Starplex. But I'm like, why is this being...
Why is it a thing?
Why
did they bring it up?
Yeah, why is this a big deal? I thought you went to electronic music festivals to do a bunch of drugs and then make out and have sex or whatever.
You hear that, honey?
To the beat. I don't understand what the deal is here. Now, what I did not know, as this story goes on, in California, sex in public is not a crime.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's the way. Well, I don't know if it's that way still here, but
is that the way it is in Texas?
I have a story that I knew this boyfriend girlfriend when I was in high school, and one night he was walking her home, and they got into a little fornication situation on the sidewalk in front of her house. He was literally banging her on the sidewalk in front of her house, and all of a sudden, the car that pulls up and stops next to them is a police car. They watched them finish. They watched them get up and walk away, and the cop car drives away.
I mean,
now, mind you, high schoolers.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. In front of her house. They're literally in front of her house. Just knocking boots. Just, scraping and breaking all over the concrete. The cops watched the dude bang her.
And
leave.
Huh.
But they were like, oh, it's not a rape. She's not complaining. They're having a good time.
They're having fun.
See ya.
So it says here, it's not having sex in public is not a crime, but you could face criminal charges if
indecent exposure.
No, if someone witnesses it and is offended by the conduct. In Texas, I just pulled it up. It says here,
it's got to be indecent exposure.
A public lewdness is having public sex, and Penal Code 2107 defines this as an offense where a person knowingly engages in any of the following acts in a public place, or if not in a public place, he or she is reckless about whether another is present who will be offended or alarmed by his or her act of sexual intercourse, act of deviant sexual intercourse, or act of sexual contact. Contact, not conduct. So there is a
statute,
a public lewdness law here. Now, the definitions are sexual intercourse means any penetration of the female sex organ by the male sex organ. Deviant sexual intercourse is any contact between the genitals of one person and the mouth or anus of another person.
Dang.
The penetration of the genitals or anus of another person with an object is also considered deviant sexual intercourse.
So no flashlight sex. Okay.
Sexual contact is any touching of the anus, breast, or any part of the genitals of another person with intent to arouse or gratify the
What?
sexual desire of any person.
Shut up.
So I can't
That's
grab
terrible.
your balls to satisfy the dog.
No. And I can't like grab boobs
Gratify the
to
dog.
see if there's money hiding in there.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Will this charge affect gun rights in Texas?
Uh,
If you are convicted of this charge, you will be prohibited from having a license to carry for
I
a
see.
period of 5 years.
okay, 5 years. Jesus.
So no more sex in
Take
public.
that,
I don't have to have a license to carry anymore. Duh.
bitches.
Unless Beto gets in office. Fuckhead.
Why did he call himself Beto? Beto? You know his name's Robert, right?
Yeah.
What's Beto? Beto.
He's trying to.
what is that? Is that a-
his whole thing's wrong?
But
His whole, he's
is that
trying to.
is that a word? I mean, is that a Spanish word that means something that I don't know about?
Beto O'Rourke?
Because I mean, he speaks Spanish.
I don't.
Maybe it's
well, that's what he's trying to. What do you mean? Appeal to?
yes. But yeah, like that's the only like Robert O'Rourke sounds better than Beto O'Rourke. It's awkward. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe BETO is a Spanish word. That means
It's
something.
a nickname given to those Alberto, which would be Roberto, Alberto, Roberto.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense now.
So now he's.
Fair enough. But Robert O'Rourke would have
Beto.
I would have like that sounds more adult.
It sounds more real.
It sounds like
I could probably respect him a little more, and then I'd have to look at him. So, that article brought up something else. Where's it at? About the sex at a EDM show, which I figured.
Eagles of Death Metal Show. That's gonna happen.
No, not an electronic music festival. There was another one where
Thank you, Susie.
I forgot where it was. Dang it. It was down in Mexico, but this was a problem that some porn star went down there to the electronic music festival and just started blowing everybody that wanted a blowjob.
Yeah, why not?
Another thing that probably happens when you're on a lot of drugs, right?
Very possible.
And then the other funny story that came out of this is all on this EDM website because they're just talking about all these different things.
Still, Eagles of Death Metal.
This is related. They've at this same one in California that these people were having sex at, a guy was found dead in the bed of his own pickup truck.
OD.
I say no, there's no foul play, so probably so.
Don't do drugs, kids.
But I'm like,
Drugs bad.
these are things I expect at an EDM festival, right? I expect someone to OD.
Yep.
I expect drugs and sex.
Yep. Yeah, all kinds of
expect
debauchery.
Everybody being
Every level of debauchery you can imagine will take place.
barely clothed and dancing around and
Yep.
whatever.
Hiding the weed in their butts.
A lot of glow sticks being flung around
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of base nectar dropping. Well, I guess he doesn't really do it anymore because now he's
Yeah.
he got in trouble for diddling or some shit.
Or those people that bring the water guns to concerts that have acid in them.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that anymore.
Yeah, that would be. I would probably hit them.
What about pacifiers? That was always fun. Go somewhere and find people with pacifiers with.
Friggin' soaked in acid.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Man found dead in lake following the illicit rave in Italy. Man, a lot of people die at these raves.
I'm telling you.
I don't know about this. Why ain't this being stopped? Why ain't the government stepping in on this?
Yeah, well, Nancy Reagan tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah, that's all money. I've watched Narcos.
Mm.
All right, well, I guess that's it. I
Yeah.
just thought that was funny.
Yeah, no. I'm a much more colorful person for knowing that.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you came over.
Yeah.
Sorry Stubbs couldn't be here.
Stubbs, it's all right. I held the fort down for the stubness.
Maybe one day all of I Was Once Eaten will sit in the room again.
And then lightning will surely hit. And maybe
Something
we'll get.
weird will happen.
Maybe after that we'll actually get Stubbs' secret.
So I actually thought about, I still have all those tracks. I thought about going in and actually reworking them. Now that
Toying,
everything's
tooling.
more modern,
Ooh.
make Stubbs guitar sound good.
Dun, dun.
Make my bass actually sound like a bass. Not just a bunch of noise.
Impossible.
Yeah, I've actually thought about doing that, going in there, but like you, I've got to have time.
Holy cow! Yeah, if I had the if I had the Infinity Stones, I would make more hours in a day.
So you would control time. That's your
Yeah,
wish.
goddamn right, I would.
That was my wish. I could control time.
Well, not control, just make more of it.
Oh. Well, you know what would happen? You'd make more of it, and then
More-
corporate America
More
would want
stupid shit
more
would
from
happen.
you.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this to a 36-hour
Yeah.
day.
You
Oh,
don't
yeah? Well, now you're going to work 12 hours a day.
Yes.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah. Out of your 8-day work week that we're going to create.
I saw a funny meme today that said, it's weird how you have to ask permission to go on vacation from your place of employment, when in actuality, they're the ones, you're selling your time to them.
Yay, capitalism.
Yeah. I was like, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, that's right. I am selling my time to you.
Yep.
So I don't have to ask permission for anything.
Yeah, motherfucker. Going to damn Bora Bora.
Or the Maldives.
Yep. Them too.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right. Very nice.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. I'm glad I got to come over.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey.
We'll do this again.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Ciao, bitches.
Oh.
Do, 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 do.
I think I need a new IO.
Why?
I don't know. My IO keeps stopping during the show.
Why?
I don't know. So I got
It's a piece of electronic equipment.
Well, that's old as shit. And I've got 2-3 converters to make that work. That is Firewire 400.
I don't know what that means. 400. Like now they're up to 20,000.
No,
Oh.
now you're up to USB-C goes into this.
Oh.
So I have to go from Firewire 400 into a Firewire 800 cable, then go 800 to Thunderbolt to USB-C.
That seems very excessive.
Very excessive. I just need a USB-C to run from there to here, and then we'll be good. So,
Huh. Well, then you'd have more space on your rack without the extra.
yeah, I just need to get.
And I
I
got to
need
make
to
it
do
to
that.
the edge and go pee without dying.
I gotta make it there. Or I gotta do that. Goodbye, chat room. Bye bye.
I really-
Good night.